So they welcome back Sandro Tonali, and also Bruno Guimaraes comes back into the 11 today.
And with Ipswich, there haven't really been any changes except one. Connor Chaplin is coming in for Burns. And with Nottingham Forest, Chris Wood and Gibbs White are back into the team, as well as Jota Silva making one of his first starts in the Premier League.
For Brentford Leicester, luckily they have Christian Norgard back in the middle after his controversial sending off last game. It was rescinded during the week after an appeal from Brentford. They've also got in-form pair Johan Wissa and Brian Mbeumo up front. Brian Mbeumo's 12 games and 8 goals so far, so he is looking to add to his tally. And for Leicester, Jamie Vardy starts up front with Wilfred Ndidi in the midfield and Jordan Ayew getting a start for once. Jamie Vardy will be making his 319th game for Leicester and hopefully getting his 141st goal.
Wow, Jamie Vardy having a party. What a Premier League legend. It's not just in the top two flights that we have to look at. We have a plethora of FA Cup games as well taking place that we will guide you through, of course, as well. And we have 5 Solent students that have been travelling the country to make their way to games up and down the land in the Premier League, in the Championship and in the FA Cup as well. I think we should start though by heading over to Molineux, where we've got Millie Payne looking over Wolves versus Bournemouth.
Cherry star performer so far.
Hello.
Tony Ariola says the suspension leaves a big hole.
Hello.
Cut away from that now. We've also got games going on in the Championship. Coventry City against Cardiff City. That also kicking off at 3 p.m. Harrison Richards will be looking after that. I think we should have a little bit of a chat though about the new manager in at Coventry City, taking over from Mark Roberts, who was at the club for quite a while. The Sky Blues now employing Frank Lampard, returning to management after a disastrous interim stint at Chelsea 18 months ago. How do we think that he's going to get on?
Yeah, I think you said it yourself. Of course, he had that poor period at Chelsea. I think it really did affect him, took a toll on him, but I think this could be the perfect role for him. I think it could ease him back into management. You know, he's a decent side. I think everyone knows he knows his football. He could be a good manager. I think he'll do well. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. What do you think, Cam?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there, Ben. I think it's an important time for Frank Lampard. I think this job that he's taken at Coventry could be a bit of a make or break for him. Obviously, did experience a bit of a difficult time towards the end of his spell at Chelsea the second time around. But I think overall he's probably a little bit harshly criticised. I think his first season at Chelsea was impressive, obviously getting a young team into the top 4. So yeah, big opportunity, and also I think could be promising for Coventry. Obviously very good connections at Chelsea, so it'll be interesting to see if he can bring anyone along with him. What do you think, Diogo?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to agree with Cam. I think he is very harshly criticised. I think one of his teams that he had were one of my favourite Chelsea teams, and obviously he didn't do well towards the end. And once Tuchel came in, Chelsea won the Champions League. But yeah, I think he's very harshly criticised, and I'm looking forward to how he's going to do at Coventry.
I don't know, me personally, I mean, how much money did he spend at Chelsea when he was there, and he didn't really do much. So we'll have to wait and see what he does with Coventry, but in my opinion, I don't think he'll do great, I'll be honest.
Yeah, 100%. The record at Chelsea slightly mixed. His transfers very 50-50 as well. Obviously bringing in Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, both of them finding success elsewhere, and also had a very successful stint in the Championship. His first managerial job taking charge of Derby County and almost steering them into the Premier League before he took over his beloved Blues. We are going to head back over to Molineux though for Wolves versus Bournemouth. Millie Payne is there. Do you have any team news for us, Millie?
Wolves are fantastic 4-1 win against Fulham weekend. We've got an unchanged side. We've got Jose Sarr in goal, Nelson Semedo, Mario Lemina, Totti Gomez and Ryan Nouri at the back. In the midfield we've got Rachel Gomez and Rodrigo Gomez. Gomez is in this team, and then up front we've got Jean-Rixa Belgrade, Morgan Larsen and Mateus Cunha. That man who's just been so prolific for Wolves. And for Bournemouth, they've got 2 changes to the side. We've got one of their top scorers so far this season, Antoine Semenyo, out through suspension, 5 yellow cards for him. In goal we've got Chelsea Loney Kepa, Adam Smith, Ilya Zavani, Marcos Senesi and Milos Kerkez at the back, Ryan Christie and Tyler And then Justin Kluivert lines up in that number 10 role with David Brooks, Evan Nielsen and Marcus Tavernier up front.
Lifting Wolves out of the relegation zone, another crunch match for them, an opportunity to move further away from the bottom three.
Won their last 2 games, and Bournemouth unfortunately have lost their last 2 games despite some fantastic performances that they've put on against, you know, leaders like Manchester City and Arsenal. But Wolves still seem to be really coming into their stride at the moment, and like I said, with a goal scorer as prolific as Mateus Cunha, it's likely they could get a good result against Bournemouth today.
100%. Well, thank you very much, Millie. I'm sure we're going to join you later on this afternoon as well. Let's go down to the Championship. We spoke a little bit about Coventry City versus Cardiff City. Harrison Richards is going to be taking us through that game. Harrison, if you can hear us, any team news over there? Any big changes for Frank Lampard's first game in charge of the Sky Blues? We're not going to be jumping over to Harrison. I tell you what, though, we have got some games going on live in the Championship just to talk to you about 3 games very close to finishing, all in the latter stages. Middlesbrough currently 3-1 up at the Riverside over Hull City. Oxford United have just equalised with 4 minutes to go of normal time in the 86th minute against Millwall. Still level, 87 minutes in with QPR and Watford. And then at half-time it is Blackburn Rovers 1, Leeds United 0. Leeds obviously relegated a couple of years ago, down chasing promotion, trying to get back into the top flight. What other games have we got, though, on location? We've got Nathan Potter over at Crawley Town versus Lincoln City. That kicks off at 3 p.m. in the FA Cup. Nathan, how are things looking over there in Crawley? We're still over here. Well, let's jump down because we did have some fixtures taking place in League Two and the FA Cup as well. Wycombe Wanderers away to Wealdstone. The first FA Cup tie taking place, kicking off at 11:30 this morning. That was 2-0 in the favour of the League One side. Let's do a little bit of a preview for a game that is taking place tomorrow, though. It is a crunch match for 2 sides. Liverpool, the league leaders, hosting Manchester City at Anfield. We'll start off with the Reds, obviously beating Real Madrid midweek in the Champions League, getting a 15-year winless run against what has become their bogey team. If the Reds win this, do you think that is the league sewn up already?
So me personally, I'm a Liverpool fan, so you know I'd love to see us beat them tomorrow. I think from City's run of games, I think this is probably our best opportunity we've had in a long time I think, yeah, obviously they've lost a few games, they're looking a bit out of shape, unexpected of City, but I do genuinely think that if Liverpool win this game, I think it's 12 points clear, or maybe 11 points, sorry. I just think that with the quality of football Liverpool are playing, I just don't think that I can't see anyone catching up with them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Liverpool have made such an impressive start to this season. I don't think many people would have perhaps expected Arne Slot to have done this well. It's a massive opportunity, given City's form. It's not often that we've seen Guardiola's side struggling so much. So yeah, I think a huge opportunity for the Reds tomorrow. If they win, I think that could be the league wrapped up already.
Yeah, I think Liverpool obviously have been doing really well. I'm not sure if they'll replicate their good form against City. Obviously, City has been not in the best form, but I still think it's going to be a really good game. Could potentially be a game of the year.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is Liverpool's biggest chance to snatch the title from City. I do think for the title race, it will be a lot more interesting if City do grab the 3 points. It will be an interesting run to the title. But my heart goes with Liverpool. I think Arne Slot's men will get the 3 points in the end.
Yeah, interesting takes there. It's not a ground that Manchester City have particularly fond memories at. They've only won once there since 2003. But talking about City, Pep Guardiola, I don't think we've ever seen a Pep Guardiola side struggle this much. 5 defeats on the bounce, winless in 6, and the last one against Feyenoord in the Champions League, probably the most concerning. 3-0 up at half-time, then absolutely blew it. How do you think they can bounce back from this?
I don't think there's a better manager in the world to deal with this than Pep Guardiola himself. I think obviously he's in unprecedented territory at the moment. You can see from his interview the other day, he looked visibly stressed. I think it will really test his character. It will test the City team character. But I also feel like everyone knows what Manchester City are like. You know, they can lose 5 and then, you know, they can win every game the rest of the season and still win the league. They're so unpredictable. They're such a good side. I think they will bounce back. I think they're going for a rough period. Obviously, they've just got De Bruyne back. He's a big asset to them. But I think you can't count City out. I just don't think you can count City out.
Yeah, like you alluded to, Ben, it's a puzzling time for City at the moment. I think they're clearly, obviously, missing their star player, Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri, and I think that has really hit them in the midfield. I think if they need to improve results, that's going to be the key area. I think Guardiola needs to address that and find a solution, another player to come in and replace Rodri. And then I think they will see results start to improve. We've seen time and time again, it's what Man City do. They're notorious for putting these runs together at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something similar. I think this time it might be a little bit too late though.
Yeah, I completely agree with Cameron. Obviously, the missing piece in the puzzle is Rodri. So in January, if they can find a replacement, then I think that would be great. I think I've heard shouts of Adam Wharton or Zubimendi. But yeah, if they find a replacement, as much as I love Rico Lewis, I don't think it works in the midfield. But I'm sure Pep will get it all figured out before the end of the year.
Yeah, obviously Rodri's a massive miss, but I think you can't cancel out the quality Man City have on the pitch, the likes of De Bruyne, and I know Haaland, he scored 2, but he hasn't scored in a few, but he's probably the best striker in the world at the minute. So I do think they will start getting into their form again, and it will be a close match, and they'll definitely be up for it against Liverpool as well. It's the title on the line pretty much. So.
100%, yeah, and they'll be looking to bounce back after getting battered at home against Tottenham Hotspur in the league just a week ago. Now, from the big leagues down into the 6th tier of English football in the National League, we're going to be talking to Toby Chapman, who is overseeing Oxford City against Farsley Celtic. Toby, how are you? How are things looking over there in Oxford?
Hi guys, yeah, everything's looking pretty blue down here, to be fair. That's not just because of the colour scheme of Oxford City, it's because their recent form hasn't been the best. So it's quite fitting that it's a lot of blue going around here. If they lose today, it'll be their 4th consecutive defeat.
We've lost Toby. The black screen of doom taking over there. Hopefully we'll be back later on. We are back to Toby. Toby, kick it off again.
Go again. Okay, guys. As I was saying, it's pretty blue down here, and that's because of the recent form, not just because of the colour scheme of Oxford City. It's been about 5 weeks since their last league victory. That was against Hereford 2-0. But since then, they've had a long run of defeats. Recently in the week, they lost 2-1 to Chester, they lost 2-1 to Buxton, and 3-1 to Alfreton, with very little to celebrate. What they have been able to celebrate, though, is a few goal scorers. They start on the bench today. We have Josh Parker and Louis Walsh. They're starting on the bench with a different side starting the game, so hopefully they'll come on a little bit later to come up against probably the tired knees of Farsley. They've travelled about 4 hours down to get to this match, so Oxford City will be looking to end their long streak of defeats here.
100%, yeah. Do you think the manager of Oxford City could be under pressure? 21st in the division, 3 losses in a row, like you said, winless in 4. Could this be a crunch match for the boss?
Well, it's one of those ones. Farsley aren't doing too well either. They're only sitting in 19th, so only a little way above Oxford City. So I feel like it's one of those ones where a win will actually feel like 3 or 4 if they were able to topple Farsley today. So I don't think he'll be under too much pressure, but maybe some questions will be asked if there's another defeat.
Thank you very much, Toby. We'll be cutting back to you later on in the programme. Let's return to the Premier League, though, because last night we had a Friday night kickoff, which was eventful, to say the least. We saw Brighton hosting Southampton, important game for the Saints, sat bottom of the table, just the 1 win so far this season, and after a heartbreaking 3-2 defeat to Liverpool, where you could argue they were the better side against the league leaders, they were hoping for points. But Karen Matoma gave the Seagulls an early lead, a deserved lead in the first half, and then VAR came to party once again. Southampton equalising through Flynn Downs, and then the goal that was scored by Cameron Archer ruled out by VAR for Adam Armstrong interfering with play. I've got the quote here. He was deemed to be impacting goalkeeper Mark Verbruggen's ability to play the ball. VAR getting involved again. Do we think this is just going to continue?
I think it's a puzzling one. I think, obviously, I watched the game last night. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's a questionable decision. I think, as you can see, obviously Armstrong's flicked his foot up, so he's intent to play the ball. It hasn't touched him. The ball's behind him. Obviously, Archer was onside, the one that scored. It's not what you need at all when you're bottom of the league, struggling for results. I think Saints fans will definitely feel hard done by, and I don't blame them. I think it's a decision that could go either way, but yeah, for me, VAR is come into play once again.
Yeah, like you say, Ben, we're here talking about it once again. Another massive decision which it could have a huge impact on Southampton's season. Not what they need at all, like Ben said, struggling at the bottom of the Premier League. I think it is a very harsh decision. You could argue maybe he's impacted play slightly, but I think it's very tough on Saints, and Russell Martin will, rightly so, be furious with that decision.
Yeah, I don't think I can really comment on the situation because I didn't really see it, but I can comment on the VAR situation. In my opinion, I'm in favour of it. I think it's just needs the right people on it because I think it does resolve a lot of the solutions, but in recent years it seems to be a problem, so yeah.
Well, I'd disagree with that. I mean, it gets it wrong too many times to be useful nowadays, so I don't think VAR, I think it should just be scrapped in the end of the day.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's multiple times every season where it's cost teams points. I mean, those 3 points for Southampton, it could be a season-changing game, and VAR's took it from them. So I think in the end of the day, it just should be scrapped.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one, isn't it? The VAR has caused plenty of problems in the past. I remember last season Liverpool hosting Arsenal, Martin Odegaard playing basketball in the penalty area, not giving the Reds a penalty there, and us going on to draw that 1-1. We've got Oxford United, who are currently training at the moment. They're also in a game against Millwall in the Championship. That is in the 96th minute, 1 goal apiece there. Both sides battling to try and work their way up the table. Millwall currently 9th, looking upwards, trying to find themselves in a playoff spot, 5 points away, from 6th place Watford. Oxford United promoted from League One last season and have done a fairly decent job, currently sat solidly mid-table, 16th place at the moment. They have lost 3 games in a row before this draw against Millwall. A couple of games finishing in the Championship as well. Middlesbrough did beat Hull City by 3-1, and Watford, Queen's Park Rangers ending goalless. Now, I'm going to throw it back to Billy right on the end there because you're looking at the Leicester City game and they've got a new manager. Steve Cooper was sacked just over a week ago and Ruud van Nistelrooy made an impression at Manchester United as the interim boss, also managed PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch league as well. What can we expect from the big Dutchman coming in?
I think he will change Leicester's season. He's very attacking. I mean, you saw it with Man United, 4 games, 4 wins. I think if there's one man to do something for Leicester, it will be Van Nistelrooy. He's not managing today, he's only in the stands. As of today, you won't see him in the managerial box against Brentford today, which will be a big blow, I think, for Leicester. But I'm expecting big things from Van Nistelrooy at Leicester this season.
100%, yeah. Leicester not in the best of forms. No one's in 5 in all competitions. Interim boss Ben Dawson taking charge for today's game against Brentford. The Bees haven't actually beaten the Foxes since 1953. They've spent a lot of time in different divisions, but that is still quite the run that they'll be hoping to overcome. Diogo, do you think this is the best opportunity for Brentford?
I definitely think so. I think Brentford are an attacking team, obviously one of the most goals as well. So yeah, I think this is really a big opportunity for them to pounce on it, for sure.
100%, yeah, Cam. Now, Thomas Frank was linked with the Manchester United job when that came available, current Brentford manager. Do you think he's a manager that should deserve a bigger role at a bigger club somewhere?
You could definitely argue that. I mean, I think if you look at what he's done during his time with Brentford since they've been promoted to the Premier League, it's very impressive. He's working with very limited resources. So I think it would be interesting to see him at a role like Man United or any other big club for that matter. I think it would be good to see him work with a slightly bigger budget and bring in some more players of his own. So yeah, I think Thomas Frank definitely deserves a job at a big role.
Yeah, Ben, I think it was slightly expected that after they sold Ivan Toney to the Saudi Pro League in the summer that they would struggle, but Brian Mbeumo has been absolutely fantastic. 3rd top goal scorer in the Premier League. How well has he stepped up to the plate?
Yeah, it's amazing, to be honest. I did think personally myself, I was about to say before Cam said it, that I thought they would struggle without Toney. But I think going back to the point of do you think Frank should have a better role, I think the way he's dealt with it is you wouldn't even notice that he's gone, really. Obviously, like you said, Mbeumo scoring goals, Wissa scoring goals. I think they look like a very dangerous side. I think they just need to tighten up a bit at the back. And I think, yeah, they really are up there.
Yeah, both of them looking very, very good. And Mbeumo on 8 goals so far this season in the Premier League. Johan Wissa with 7, 15 between them, looking like quite a frightening partnership at the front of that Brentford attack. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other games taking place in the Premier League that our boys on the bench will be looking at. Newcastle United, currently sat 10th, not in very good form. Cam, Is this an important game for Eddie Howe? I think he is under considerable pressure, especially considering the drop-off we saw last season, only finishing 7th in the league after qualifying for the Champions League for the first time in many a long time.
Yeah, definitely, Tom. Eddie Howe is certainly under pressure since the new owners have come in. They're demanding success, and if Newcastle don't hit those levels soon enough, then the question will be asked of Eddie Howe. I think it doesn't help, obviously, today playing Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Newcastle don't have a good record at Selhurst Park, or Eddie Howe for that matter. So yeah, tough game today. Newcastle's only Premier League victory at Selhurst Park came back in 2020. That's only one win in their past 9 attempts there, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens today.
Do you think the links with the England job may have affected Eddie Howe? Do you think that distracted him?
Look, I think it's difficult to judge, potentially for sure. It's such a big role, the England job, and I think when your name's being floated around with a role such as the England job, there's going to be pressure that comes with that. Maybe that hasn't had an effect on his Newcastle team. I think over the next couple of months we're really going to see whether that is the case. Obviously England have announced Tuchel now, so spotlight's off Eddie Howe slightly. So I think the next couple of months are massive for Eddie Howe and Newcastle.
100%, yeah, but they are going to be up against it with Crystal Palace having Ebreke Eze returning to the lineup. Like you said earlier on, that could be key. Eze, an absolutely fantastic footballer, and was fairly influential in the Euros in the summer. We're going to quickly talk about Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich as well. Diogo, you'll be looking after that. Forest have been incredibly impressive. Chris Wood has been banging in the goals, picked up Player of the Month, along with Nuno Espirito Santo picking up Manager of the Year. They have lost back-to-back games, though, and coming up against an Ipswich side who are in decent form, beating Tottenham famously, drawing with Manchester United. Do you think that could be a little bit of a banana skin?
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. Safe to say that Nottingham Forest surprised everyone this season, including myself. They're currently 7th, I think, in the Premier League table, and the last time that they did this was in the 90s. So if they can finish in the top 10, that would be an incredible achievement for them. But yeah, in the last 2 games, they just haven't looked like themselves. In that Arsenal game, I really thought it would be a close game, but they got absolutely battered by Arsenal at the Emirates. So yeah. And when it comes to Ipswich, obviously their striker, Delap, has been amazing this season. He's actually the top scorer for the under-21s in the top 5 leagues, and he's got 6 goals for Ipswich. So yeah, it should be a really interesting game. I won't be surprised if Ipswich manage a result today.
Yeah, good signing, Liam Delap, from Manchester City in the summer. We are going to look at some FA Cup action now, though. Nathan Potter is looking over the Crawley Town versus Lincoln City game that kicks off at 3 o'clock. Nathan, how are things looking over there?
Yeah, it is a cold one here in Crawley. I can't feel my hands. But let's go through the team news. Crawley do make 5 changes this afternoon. Most notably, Eddie Breach coming in for Jojo Willacott. He's made just the 1 appearance so far this season. He's on loan from Chelsea. Will Swan, the man that got the match winner against Rotherham in their last game, he's not in the squads. And the heroes of the last round, Tolo Shuwani and Tobias Makari, both start with Shuwani being the captain. For Lincoln, it's 3 changes as Lewis Monsama, Ethan, Errol Hammond and Freddie Draver come in from Bailey, Cadamarenti, Colin McGrandles and Dom Jeffries. Tyler Walker makes the bench for the first time since April last season. And Rico Hackett also makes the bench following his return from injury. Player to watch for Lincoln is Jovan McCarthy. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist in all comps, so it should be a good game.
How important for Crawley is for Lincoln, to try and enact some revenge, because they have already lost 3-0 away at Crawley so far this season in League One?
Yeah, it's going to be huge for Lincoln. Obviously, as you said, they did lose 3-0 here early in the season against Crawley, so I'm sure they'll have a bit between their teeth looking to advance to the 3rd round of the FA Cup and pick up a result.
Brilliant, thank you, Nathan. We'll come back to you early on in the game to see how things are progressing over there. Now, we're going to drop down to the Championship, the last of the games that we haven't spoken about that is being covered. It is Stoke City versus Burnley a while ago. These 2 sides both in the Premier League, both, had their own way of playing, didn't they? Stoke City known as being the bullies, if you like, of the Premier League. You can only do it on a cold and windy night in Stoke. Burnley chasing promotion under Scott Parker, though. How do you think they'll fare in this clash?
Yeah, I think Burnley have been impressive. Like you said, they're pushing for promotion. They haven't lost to Stoke in the last 5 meetings. Burnley also, no side have recorded more clean sheets in England's top 4 tiers this season than Burnley with 11. As you can see their defence is very tight. Whereas Stoke, they're not doing too bad. They also haven't lost in 5, coming off the back of a draw against Preston North End in their last game. They haven't lost actually since their defeat 3-2 to Southampton in the Cup. Although they have seen themselves draw 3 games in a row. I think this will be Burnley's game. I think Stoke can take it to them though. Obviously, it's at the Bet365. I saw that the Stoke fans were creating a massive tifo for this game today. They were told to go to their seats early so they could set it up. I think the fans will be backing them. I think it'll be a very good game, but I do think Burnley will come out on top on this one.
Yeah, important for Burnley, especially with Leeds United dropping points, another one of their promotion challenges. We are going to head over to Coventry now for Harrison Richards' Coventry City taking on Cardiff City, kicking off at 3 o'clock in the Championship. Harrison, how are things looking over there? What are the expectations for Frank Lampard's first game in charge?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm at the Coventry Building Society Arena covering this game between Coventry and Cardiff. As you can see, the stands are filling around me, the music's blasting and the players are out warming up. It's not just a big game for the players on the pitch though, it's a massive game for the managers in the dugouts, especially in the Sky Blues dugout. Frank Lampard taking his first charge of Coventry, his first game in charge since April 2023, which might do him the world of good. As for Cardiff, if Omar Reza wants any chance of getting the job permanently, he's going to have to get a big result today. He's been in charge interim for around a month now, after they sacked Errol Bullitt earlier on in the season. It's 2 changes for Coventry today. They put in Jack Redoni in for Latiboa, and Mason Clark is favoured up front in place of Victor Torp. And for Cardiff, it's 4 changes today. Most notably, second top scorer Ollie Tanner has been dropped to the bench in place of David Turnbull. I'm sure Coventry will be hoping for that elusive new manager bounce, but Cardiff will fancy themselves as well, as they've only lost 3 of the last 17 meetings against Coventry. But either way, it's going to be a good game.
Thank you very much for that. Nathan will be joining you later on, I am sure. We're going to go straight down into the lower leagues of English football as well. Reading Goodwin currently overseeing AFC Totton versus Swindon. Rio, can you hear us over there?
AFC Totton as they take on 7th place Swindon Super Reed. It turns out it's what's going to be a good clash today. Both sides love a goal, scoring about 2 per game. Swindon, on the other hand, have conceded about 30, so it looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game. Joe Osler will captain Totton. Someone that Premier League fans might reckon, Charlie Austin, is in the side for Totton. Top scorer Tony Lee will be hoping to bag a few goals today and try and push towards the top. And it's looking like it will be an interesting game today.
Rio, are the AFC Tottenham fans out in their masses for this game?
They are starting to slowly arrive. Stands are filling up. Atmosphere seems good while the teams are behind me training, warming up. So it looks like it's going to be a good clash today.
Thank you very much, Rio. We'll be joining you, I'm sure, later on this afternoon. Can AFC Tottenham try and get another win there? Game's kicking off all over the show. We're about 25 minutes away from the start of the crunch clashes. And yeah, it's a very, very important day in the Championship as well. Wayne Rooney taking charge of Plymouth Argyle. They're in absolutely horrendous form. Just 1 clean sheet so far this season. They travel to Bristol City, who are on the back of back-to-back league defeats. But Wayne Rooney as a manager, it's a bit of an interesting one. Did a decent job at Derby, was over there at FC United, got sacked at Birmingham City. Some people thought when he took the Plymouth Argyle job that his wife Colleen Rooney would last longer in the I'm a Celeb jungle than he would last in the dugout. Do you think Rooney can try and get a bit of drive going and try and get this Plymouth Argyle side scoring? Yeah, I do think he can. I think he has shown it in a few games where they've scored a few goals. You know, they've got a couple of results. I think he got stuck with quite a hard job when he came into it. I think it was a challenge for him from the start. I think he's doing okay though. I think, like I said before, I think they just need to stop leaking goals because they have
they have good goal scorers. They have players that can score goals. But yeah, I think they need to stop leaking goals. But I think he's a good option for them, and I think I'm interested to see how he does.
Yeah, like you say, Ben, it is going to be interesting to see how Rooney does with Plymouth. It's always a difficult task taking jobs at lower league clubs, so I think Rooney does deserve a lot of credit for getting himself back out there. He's obviously had stints before at Derby, so he knows the league. We'll see, like Ben mentioned, Plymouth's defence is a bit of a problem for them, but I think there's a lot of potential for Plymouth to improve under somebody like Rooney. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on.
For me, in certain cases like Rooney, football players some of them just can't be managers. We've seen it with Rooney and we've seen it with Gary Neville. They're brilliant footballers, but being a manager is just completely different, and I think some of them just can't hack it, and I think this is the case with Wayne Rooney. I'm not sure he's going to be very successful.
I do find Wayne Rooney's managerial career I don't know, at Derby he started off quite well. I thought he was doing well, and it's just slowly declined from there. DC United, Birmingham City. So hopefully he can turn it around with Plymouth, but I do agree with Diogo. Good players rarely make good managers, so we'll have to wait and see what he brings.
Yeah, there are very few exceptions. It hasn't been a great time for England's golden generation taking charge of big clubs. Frank Lampard struggling, along with Steven Gerrard, who's currently out there in the Saudi Pro League. We're going to throw over, though, to Chance Jomick, who's looking over Sholing versus Winchester. Chance, have you got any team news for us?
Yes, I'm here live at the Mortgage Decisions Community Stadium. It's a local derby, a potential 6-pointer, as there's only 4 points between the teams, as Sholing sit 16th and Winchester sit 19th. I'll get into team news now for you guys. So starting off in goal, Patrick Nash for Sholing. At right back, Benny Reed. At left back, Jake Flanagan, followed by Harry Taylor, Charlie Gunson, Zidane Akers. In midfield, Jake Hesketh, Sung Yang. Up top, Michael Falevi. Also, George Milner-Smith. And finishing off the starting 11 is Joseph Rabbit. On their substitutes bench, there is Owen Randall-Price, Daniel Mason, Max Bastante-McCare, Jordan Chidozie, and Fabio Verissimo Lopez. Getting into the away side now. In goal for them is Luke Kearney. At right back, Joshua McCormick. Left back, Daniel King. CDM, Oliver Griggs. Robert Jameson. Alex Wilkie. Daniel Jones. The captain, Jamie Barron, in midfield. Thomas Wright at striker. Right wing, Trevor Caborn. And the main man, Ike Hill, their best player at left wing. And just to finish off substitutes bench for them, it's Jordan Rose, Luca Chilwell, Daniel Bartlett, Sim Malambo, and George Britton. That's all the team news for you guys. Let's hope for a good match.
100% Chance. Yeah, I just want to ask you about Sholing. Winless in 5 in the league. Is this the best opportunity to try and get their season back on track against the Winchester side, who, like you said, are down in the doldrums of the league table as well?
Yeah, both teams come into this match not in the best of form. They both lost their last match. The Boatmen lost 2-1 to Walton and Hersham in their last outing. And the wayside Winchester City lost 3-1 to Havant and Waterlooville 3-1. So both sides will be looking to get some more points.
Thank you very much, Chance. And like I said, hoping for a fascinating game taking place down there in the 7th tier of English football. Let's talk a little bit about the remaining championship fixtures that we haven't covered that are kicking off at 3 o'clock. We've got Norwich City taking on Luton Town. Norwich ending a 7-game winless run after absolutely battering Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle by 6-1 in their most recent fixture. Luton Town relegated from the Premier League last season. Rob Edwards was maybe earmarked as a potential future England manager, but they've really struggled. Haven't picked up back-to-back wins since September. Billy, are you concerned about what we've seen from Luton, especially as a relegated side?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought Luton would bounce straight back up. They really surprised me when they were in the Premier League. I thought they'd be bottom of the Premier League, straight back down. But they played really attacking football, really good football, high pressure. So I thought they would not struggle at all in the Championship, but it's clear they really have. And if I was Rob Edwards, I would be quite nervous about my job. But hopefully he can turn it around for Luton, because he is a good manager, as we saw in the Premier League. And yeah, I do hope they can spin it around today.
Again, like Billy said, Luton was a rare occasion. seeing them was really rare in the Premier League. But I really hope they stay up, but unfortunately they didn't. So now they continue to struggle, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go down.
I have to say, Tom, it's one of the most surprising things I think I've seen this season so far. Luton struggling so much in the Championship. I think they were really competitive in their time in the Premier League under Rob Edwards, and you expected that to carry on through into this season in the Championship. It hasn't happened for whatever reason. I think, like Diogo's just said, I think if results don't start improving pretty quickly, Rob Edwards could be under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to echo the opinions of the other lads on the panel. I think I was really surprised at their performances this season. I think me personally, I think not just me, I think a lot of people really enjoyed watching them play in the Prem last season. I think, you know, you always want to root for the underdog a little bit. They got very unlucky with like 1 goal deficits, just losing games, last minute, conceding last minute. Yeah, they've been poor this season. They didn't change their squad too much, so I am surprised at their position at the moment. But I think they have it in them, and I think they'll definitely stay up. But yeah, like all the other boys said, I'm very surprised at how poor they've been so far this season.
Yeah, and we've heard the phrase thrown around a lot that the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is continuing to grow with the financial muscle of the big boys in the top division. Are you concerned that clubs coming up from the Championship, like we saw last season, the 3 promoted clubs coming straight back down, are we going to continue to see that trend for the next 5, maybe 10 years? Yes,
I do think so. I think there's mid to lower table Premier League teams we've seen now who are starting to really up their game. For example, we were talking about Brentford. Brentford, for example, have been really impressive. Clubs like that, they're really starting to come into their own. So I do think that it is very, very challenging for Championship clubs who have just been promoted. I think, like you said, the gap will continue to grow. I think the big boys will just continue spending, and it's almost like they don't have a chance. I think it's a bit unfair. Obviously, you only really get a lot of money if you actually win the playoff final, for example. So it's not like the Championship clubs coming up have a lot of money to work with. It's more just grit and determination. But yeah, I do think that there's a big gap.
Yeah, I agree, Ben. I think it's always the major concern as a promoted team from the Championship is that gap in funding from some of the top Premier League sides. So that is always going to be an issue. I think we saw with Nottingham Forest a few years ago when they actually made it up from the Championship. They invested heavily, took quite a gamble in doing so, and even got themselves in a bit of trouble as a result of that with the points deduction last year. But maybe we might see that is a gamble that more and more teams are going to have to start taking when they get promoted from the Championship, to invest heavily to bridge that gap a little bit closer to some of the top teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, as Cameron said, they had to take a bit of a gamble, and only after 2 years really, the spending of 200 million has paid off for Nottingham Forest. So yeah, definitely for sure. And with Wolves, they were really the only team that we saw get promoted and do really well the next season. So obviously we all love an underdog story, so seeing something like that again would be amazing to see.
Yeah, I completely agree with the lads. Everyone loves an underdog story, so hopefully they can do it again.
Yeah, 100%. Another game in the Championship, we've got to talk about Pompey Portsmouth as the Solent team. They haven't actually played since November the 9th. 2 games postponed due to weather interruptions and due to power failures. So those games against Blackburn Rovers and Millwall have been canned. They do find themselves, though, at the foot of the table. They make the long journey to Wales to take on Swansea City. 2 prime Barclays clubs battling it out in the Championship. A little bit on Portsmouth. John Mousinho has been positive, despite his side still being sat bottom of the table. Got promoted from League One last season. How do you think Pompey will get on? Do you think they'll be able to survive the drop?
Look, I think as a newly promoted side, your first goal is going to be, right, we need to stay up, not go straight back down. Pompey, like you said, the bottom of the table, not had results go their way. I don't know. I think, to be honest, they don't have it in them this season. I think at the start of the season, they had, I think it was 1 or 2 decent results. I can't remember who it was they beat, but they won their first game, drew with Leeds. People are thinking, oh, maybe, you know, they'll come back in, they might do well. Haven't got the results since. I think, personally, they're going to go straight back down.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Portsmouth, I think the quality from some of the teams at the top of the Championship down to the bottom is just too big. I think if you look at the quality of Portsmouth's squad compared to a team like Burnley, who have just been relegated from the Premier League, I think it's too wide. I think Portsmouth will struggle to stay in the league this year. So, yeah, big month ahead. I don't think if results don't improve quickly, can see them having much chance of remaining in the division.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. Obviously, we got Portsmouth looking to go down, and then on the Prem, we have Southampton, so it's not looking good for the South. Probably both of them are probably going to go down, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree, but it's probably to the Saints fans' delight that Portsmouth sitting bottom. It's bittersweet as they're also sitting bottom in Premier League though. So, but yeah, I do agree that both South Coast teams will probably get relegated this year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, losing the floodlights during the week with the terrible weather that we've been having on the South Coast. But like I said, Saints fans, we're delighted to revel in the misfortune that Portsmouth are suffering. Also in the Championship, we've got Preston North End taking on West Bromwich Albion. Preston no wins in 7 for Paul Heckingbottom's side. West Brom, Carlos Cobrand's side, I think could go down as the most boring team in English football. 1 win in 11, 8 of the last 9 games have been draws, 5 of them goalless. I mean, I feel for the West Brom fans.
Yeah, me too. They were top at one point. Obviously, they've got Josh Madger, a great striker. Surprised me. I thought they were going to carry on getting results, but seems like they haven't. Like you said, I don't really want to watch a West Brom game. It's boring. Do you know what I mean? I think I agree. Definitely not the most inventive side. They've been grinding out. I'm not even going to say they're grinding out results. They haven't really. Like you said, 1 win in 11. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah, it is difficult for Baggies fans down at the Hawthorns at the moment. I think we've seen time and time again in the Championship, it is very hard to remain consistent throughout such a long season. And I think West Brom are another example of that. Like Ben just mentioned, Josh Madger up top is a good player, but I don't really think they've got enough attacking options to keep getting results. So yeah, I think it is going to be a tough month ahead for Baggies fans.
Yeah, for me, it's just really sad to see. A couple years ago, 4 years ago, they were beating Champions winning side Chelsea by 5 goals, and now they're just a terrible team. It's just sad to see. Sorry to be rude, if anything, but they're just not good. And yeah, the players should just sack it off, to be honest.
No, I do agree. Unfortunately, West Brom, they've just become a boring side. I thought in the Championship they'd be up there with. I thought they'd be similar with Luton, but both teams have struggled, and yeah, they're just quite boring to watch at the minute. They need to change something very soon, otherwise they won't have any fans left by the end of the season.
100%, yeah. Since they came down in 2021, relegated in 19th, you thought West Brom, traditional yo-yo club, surely they would get back up by now, but still very much struggling. Mid-table in the Championship right now, currently 8th, coming up against Preston North End. I wouldn't be particularly surprised if that ends 0-0. Quick word on Norwich City as well, though. Another side that haven't managed to get promoted since they went down in 2022. Feels like every time we let Norwich back into the Premier League, they proceed to finish bottom of the Premier League. But Borja Sainz, their Spanish winger, doing very, very well. 14 goals so far in the league and picked up a hat-trick in his last game.
Yeah, great player. Borja Sainz, great player. I think he's gained some interest from some top clubs, some Prem clubs that are interested in him. Like you said, 14 goals, very, very good. I think, but you can't just rely on one player. Okay, you can have a star player, but the rest of the team needs to be up to scratch. I think, yeah, if they come up, they're just going to go straight back down. It's traditional Norwich.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it is surprising that we've not seen them get back up to the Premier League, like you mentioned. We are used to seeing them up and down. I think Timo Pukki not being around is a big miss for them. I think they clearly miss his goals, but I mean, if you look at the recent form, 1 win in the last 6 in the Championship, it is not looking great at Carrow Road, to be fair.
100%, yeah. Now we're going to jump back over to Toby Chapman, looking over the Oxford City versus Farsley Celtic game, because Toby has an interview to tell us about.
Hi guys, welcome back to Oxford City. I'm currently stood here with Farsley Celtic coach Socky. Socky's going to just give us a little bit of an update about how Farsley Celtic have been doing so far this season. So, Socky, do you mind just telling us how the recent games have been going? You had a midweek game this week, so just give us a little rundown of how the matches have been.
Yeah, it's not been bad, to be fair. I think we had a great start to the season. You always have that period where it will fall off a bit. Obviously, with us not playing at home currently, we are travelling a lot, so that plays a part. But the performance on Tuesday was a lot better than the performance last weekend, so I think we can take that into today's game.
Yeah. And you mentioned to me just before we came on this is probably the furthest that you guys have to travel down. Did you say it was about 4 hours to get here?
On the coach it was about 4 hours, yeah. I think it's mad, innit, what we do for football. It's a bit crazy, isn't it?
No, but thankfully you were saying that this is probably the furthest you guys have to come, so if you come away with a win, it's going to be all smiles, to be fair. But so the form looking not too bad, but do you mind just giving us a little rundown of your history in coaching? You said some great things. You've said about who certain mentors have been during your time. If I'm allowed to just throw it out there, Socky is the highest ranked wheelchair-bound coach within the Football League, and I believe that's across Europe. Is that? So if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little rundown of that, a little bit of behind the scenes for that.
Yeah, I've just always been football mad, and because I couldn't take part in the game, the next best thing was coaching, so I got involved in it, did all my badges, and got my UEFA license, and then I was lucky enough to work with some good mentors up in Manchester when Jose was there and Rui Faria, and I've just been. Then Pav got me into Farsley this summer, and it's been a great, like I said, it's a great club, and just looking to push on.
Perfect, and hopefully some of that Jose Mourinho knowledge will come down. Technical knowledge, has he given you good ways to annoy journalists or whatever? You've been very polite to me, so there's no Jose coming through there.
I witnessed some press conferences, I'll say that, but he's given me a great insight in terms of how it's done at the top level, and I think insight like that, you can't ask for anything better. You get me to be given the license to watch him at work was probably one of the best experiences I've had in football.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for having the time. We're about 3 or 4 minutes away from kickoff, so best of luck for Farsley, and hopefully you can travel back with a bit of a win. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you very much. Yeah, back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, Toby. Absolutely incredible. I think we all need more Jose Mourinho characters in football, don't we? Mourinho obviously managing in the Turkish league after getting sacked by Roma just over 12 months ago. In the German Bundesliga, we have got quite the scoreline going on. RB Leipzig currently in the Champions League and fourth in the table, hosting VfL Wolfsburg. 25 minutes in, Leipzig find themselves 3-0 down at home. Mohamed Amara with 2 goals already, the other one going to Thiago Thomas. RB Leipzig have been pretty dreadful in the Champions League so far. They might be fourth in the Bundesliga, but things not looking very good at all.
Yeah, not looking good for them. In the league, in the Champions League, not really sure what's happened. They've grabbed some great results in the league, but the Champions League, they just can't seem to grasp it. They've lost to some surprising teams you think they beat. But it's a weird one.
Yeah, I think it is one of the most eye-catching things about the Champions League table currently is actually how far down RB Leipzig are. It's only been in recent years that I think they went as far as a Champions League semi-final so long ago. Very surprising to see them so far down. Obviously, we know they're a club similar to Brighton who work that model of sort of bringing in younger players and selling them on for a profit. So it is difficult to constantly keep finding replacements. But I must say, surprising to see Leipzig so far down in the Champions League table.
Yeah, I think with Leipzig, it's just what happens with your typical European club. They have superstars and then they get sold to the European giants. So with Leipzig, it was the likes of Nkunku, Werner, and many more. And now they're struggling. It's just the cycle of these European clubs. So that's just what happens.
I do agree, but then on the other hand, a team like Leipzig should be beating teams like Celtic in the Champions League. They should be higher up in the table, I think. So I think I don't know what's wrong with their struggling form in the Champions League, because in the league they're doing quite well. I mean, obviously not today, they're 3-0 down, but hopefully they could pull a fire in order and get 3 goals in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Jurgen Klopp, when he comes in on the 1st of January, is the head of global soccer at Red Bull, obviously after leaving Liverpool in the summer. Seemingly got quite the job on his hands because Red Bull Salzburg also struggling. And funnily enough, they are currently managed by Klopp's old assistant. In the Championship, game still going on at the moment. Blackburn Rovers against Leeds United. That is in the 70th minute. Blackburn still holding a 1-0 lead. Leeds trying to chase down Sheffield United, who are currently top of the Championship table, but unsuccessful so far at Ewood Park. We're a few minutes away from the start of our major kickoffs. A lot of games that we are going to be covering. We have got a late kickoff though that we're not going to be covering, but it is very important in the context of the title race. It's West Ham United against Arsenal. The last time these two teams met at the London Stadium was a 6-0 drubbing for West Ham at the hands of Arsenal. Do you think the side now managed under Julian Lopetegui taking over from David Moyes, do you think they can enact a little bit of revenge over the Gunners?
To be honest, no, Tom, I don't think so. I think Arsenal, quality side, as we all know, I think they're just a better team. I think West Ham, not a bad side, but I think Arsenal just have it in them. I think this season, they can see that obviously Man City are not doing too well. I think Arteta will be telling his players, although Liverpool are obviously clear at the moment, I think Arteta will be telling his players, this is also a big chance for us. I think that's gone under the radar a bit. Everyone's saying, oh, Liverpool are going to win the league. But people are forgetting, you know, Arsenal are a good side. They've been challenging for the title previous seasons. I think this is a great opportunity for them to kick on and grab a result. I think they'll beat West Ham today.
Yeah, it's a massive match for both teams, really. I mean, if you look at the table, Arsenal obviously got their own reasons fighting for a Premier League title. West Ham not been in great form under Lopetegui, really. Obviously, they did pick up that 2-0 win over Newcastle on Monday night, so they'll be looking to bounce back for sure. I think this game might be too much of a tough ask for them. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arsenal go on a little bit of a run now into the new year.
Yeah, West Ham have been a strange side this season. When I expect them to win, they don't, and then when I don't expect them to win, they just pull it off like they did against Newcastle, with the likes of Wan-Bissaka doing really well. So again, it's a really hard team to predict, but it is Arsenal we are talking about here. So Arsenal, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a win.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will win. They had a big win in the Champions League over the last week, and West Ham struggling form. I don't think it will be an easy game for Arsenal, however. I mean, Lopetegui is probably fighting for his job at the minute, so I do think they'll put up some sort of a fight, but I do think Arsenal will claim the 3 points by the end of the game.
Yeah, West Ham certainly under the cosh a little bit, spending a lot of money in the summer, but only sat 14th in the table at the moment, 12 games in with 15 points. They are 6 points clear of the relegation zone, with Ipswich sat in 18th on 9 points, but still not an ideal start, and probably not what Hammers would have expected having Lopetegui take over from David Moyes in the summer. Just 1 minute to go until we get underway with the kickoffs. We are going to head back over, though, to Molineux for Millie Payne talking about Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Bournemouth. Millie, are the stands at Molineux starting to look packed? Oh no, we're not going to be heading over there. I've been told in my ear that is not the way we're going to be going. About 30 seconds to go. Games should be starting to kick off, yes, in the FA Cup. Cambridge United against Wigan Athletic getting underway. A couple of results from League 2 as well that we should talk about that have finished. Carlisle United drawing 1-1 with Crewe Alexandra, and Fleetwood Town drawing 0-0 with Colchester United. Those two games finished. Just before we get going, should we have a little bit of a chat about Mo Salah? Had some very controversial comments in the media recently stating that he was more out than in with obviously his contract expiring in the summer. Billy, I'm going to come to you first. What are your thoughts on Mo Salah? Do you think he was right to come out and say that?
I mean, I think he probably was right in the end, because it's his contract, it's his life that's going on. But the amount of years he's had at Liverpool, I think maybe you should show the fans a bit more respect to not come out in the media, say stuff like that. But if this is his last year, he'll probably try and end it with a bang and win the title. So I don't think Liverpool fans have anything to worry about in his form. It's just in his contract, really.
In my opinion, I think Salah isn't being respected enough at Liverpool considering what he's done. I think he's just saying how things are, and I don't really understand Jamie Carragher's comments on the situation, saying that it was unacceptable. I don't really know what he's getting at, but yeah, as I said before, he's really underappreciated, and he's just a brilliant player, as we all know.
Yeah, 100%. We are now going to throw live to Molineux. We have had kick-off between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Bournemouth. Millie, how have the home side started?
Well, I must say that the game's gone underway pretty quickly. We have a penalty shout for AFC Bournemouth within the first, 2 minutes here. Evan Nielsen was brought down in the box by the Wolves captain Mario Lemina, so we're just waiting for VAR to confirm it, and I believe they have. If you want to stay with me to see how this penalty goes, you're more than welcome. It looks like it is the Bournemouth. I'm trying to work out who it is who's lining up for the penalty here. Wolves' plans are still arguing with the referee about the decision that's been made, but now VAR are checking the foul. So if you want to come back to me in the next couple of minutes to find out if this penalty actually does stand, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, Millie. Yes, VAR getting involved once again in the Premier League clashes. If that does go in, that penalty given to Bournemouth, that will be an absolutely dreadful start for the side towards the bottom of the table. Wolverhampton Wanderers currently sat 17th, trying to push on away from the relegation zone. We have had kick-off in the rest of our Premier League fixtures that we are going to be looking at. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Cam, how are we looking so far?
Yeah, we're underway at Selhurst Park. Newcastle got us underway, dominating the ball in the opening 90 seconds or so. Nothing really to report on at the moment. Livramento did put a decent ball to the back post. Joel Linton couldn't quite get his head to it, but yeah, just a little bit cagey in the first 2 minutes so far.
100%, yeah, interesting start there. You would expect Newcastle to try and dominate the ball and try and end this little bit of a scrappy run of form they have been on. Diogo, Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich. Has Chris Wood already got on the end of some crosses into the box?
I don't even think he's got a touch of the ball yet, but I think they got a corner in the first seconds of the game, and yeah, nothing's really happening at the City ground so far. I think wait till maybe 10 or 20 minutes, come back to me. I feel like something's coming.
100%. Billy, have we seen Ruud van Nistelrooy in the stands watching the Leicester game?
He is in the stands with the Leicester owner, and I must say, first 2 minutes of the game, Leicester have started well, pressing very high. Flecken did give the ball away earlier to Buonanotte. He's cut in on his left foot, but it's a dribbly shot into the keeper's feet. So first shot on target for Leicester, and a good start.
Yeah, important. Remember, former Premier League champions, of course, that incredible fairy tale story for Leicester City. Down in the Championship, Stoke versus Burnley. Ben, how have we kicked off?
Yeah, it's a cagey one at the moment. Not too much has really gone on. Stoke have been trying to keep the ball, but Burnley's press has been impressive in the first few minutes, forcing Stoke to play along. Stoke have a corner, but apart from that, not too much has really happened. The corners has come to nothing as Burnley clear the ball. So yeah, at the moment, 4 minutes in, nothing to report on as of yet, Tom.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have, though, still got a 1-0 lead for Blackburn Rovers in the Championship. That was a penalty scored by Todd Cantwell in the 22nd minute. Leeds United running out of time, 15 minutes of normal time left to go to try and get an equaliser and try and get a point, because you would imagine Sheffield United, top of the Championship table, would be licking their lips at trying to extend that gap against the former Premier League side. No goals so far in the FA Cup either. Accrington Stanley against Swindon Town, 0-0 over there. Cambridge United, Wigan Athletic, 0-0 also. Wigan, obviously, former Premier League outfit as well. Moving towards the Premier League, if we can try and get hold of Millie, because has that penalty been given for Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Bournemouth? Could be a very, very fast start for the Cherries if that was the case. Wolves coming off the back of back-to-back wins, of course. Bournemouth back-to-back defeats. Could we see the reversal 5 minutes in?
Well, I came to you to talk about the Justin Kluivert penalty that was taken for Bournemouth inside their own half, just inside the first 3 minutes. But now we've had an equaliser from Wolves, so it's Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 1. It was the striker Håkon Strand Larsen who hit it straight into the back of the net from close range for Wolves. So it's looking like it's going to be an interesting tie here at Molineux this afternoon. Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 1.
Thank you very much. Fast start indeed there in one of our Premier League games. The others all still sat at 0-0. How are Newcastle looking, Cam? Have they managed to get any shots on goal against the Crystal Palace defence?
Not really so far. Like I mentioned earlier, Livramento did have a promising run down the right-hand side. He managed to prop up a decent cross to the back post, but Joel Linton wasn't quite able to get there. At the moment, it looks like Crystal Palace, slightly better side there, having more of the ball at the moment. Newcastle sitting quite deep at the moment, maybe with that dodgy record at Selhurst Park in mind. They're trying to keep it tight in the opening minutes. But 5 minutes in here, Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
Have we seen Ebreki Eze manage to get on the ball? Managed to conjure up some magic so far?
Not just yet. It looks like he's playing slightly more off the left-hand side at the moment, by the looks of it. But yeah, quite a few opening 5 minutes for him. But Palace are in. It's just been nicked away, and Lewis Hall's cleared it. But yeah, quite a quiet opening 5 minutes so far at Selhurst.
Yeah, interesting. Newcastle, you would think, would try and put the pressure on very, very quickly. Still no goals in the FA Cup. Just to remind you of that earlier result, Wellstone losing 2-0 at home to Wycombe Wanderers. Wycombe making it through to the third round, the first side to do so. I believe we have had a goal in the Championship, though, over at Coventry City. How was Frank Lampard's first game in charge got on?
Coventry have just equalised, but it was Cardiff who took the lead. A simple header from the corner from Meter, unmarked 3 minutes in. But Coventry have responded 2 minutes later through fast start here from both teams, and it's Coventry 1, Cardiff City 1.
Thank you very much, Harrison. Now, I've just seen Diogo with his head in his hands. What is going on at Nottingham Forest?
Oh my days, so Nottingham Forest almost scored, but luckily the defender deflected off his leg, and now it's a corner. Nottingham Forest are really putting the pressure on. Yeah, that's all I can say for now, but it's looking like Nottingham Forest is going to score a goal.
Fast start for Forest. They're looking to get back on the horse after back-to-back defeats. Maybe you wouldn't have expected them to beat Arsenal or Newcastle United, but certainly putting a dampener on what was a very, very good start to the season. They were nestled inside the Champions League spots a few weeks ago, if you remember. Nothing happening so far in the FA Cup. How are things going at Stoke, though?
Yeah, same as I said before, still 0-0. Stoke had a half chance, an Ashley Phillips cross onto Thomas Cannon's head, but he headed it straight at the ground, a lame shot really into the keeper's hands. Burnley are starting to grow into the game a little bit more. Josh Brownhill had a strike, but it was from about 45 yards out and flew straight into Rose Ed. Burnley, like I said, growing into the game. I'll get back to you if anything happens.
100%. We're now going to travel down the leagues to Toby Chapman at Oxford City. Toby, what is the update for us?
Fantastically down here. Oxford City, the team playing in white and blue, they've been the ones all over Farsley so far, and they've been rewarded with a goal. The centre striker Corey Andrews came in, did a bit of a shimmy round one of the defenders, got free, and then was able to hit it into the bottom left-hand corner. That leads Oxford City leading here 1-0.
Very fast start for the home side. Thank you very much, Toby. Returning to the Premier League, we've had another goal going at Molineux inside the first 10 minutes. But for who, Millie Payne?
Oh, I can't believe it. It's Wolves 1, Bournemouth 2. The visitors straight back with another to take the lead once again. Milos Kerkez gets his first ever goal for the Cherries. He hits it just from inside the box and it hits straight onto the top of the netting. What a powerful goal and what a powerful statement. The Bournemouth fans chanting all around the home ground going, "Who are you? Who are you?" So what an atmosphere it is at Molineux this afternoon. It's nearly 10 minutes just gone. Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 2.
Love to see it. What a start to the game. Wolves thinking they were back on level terms just for Milos Kerkez to get in there. Obviously, been linked with Liverpool recently at the struggles with Andy Robertson's form and Kostas Tsimikas being injured at the moment. The Reds potentially looking for a new left back. Brentford versus Leicester. Has Ruud van Nistelrooy's future side managed to try and break down the very impressive Brentford defence?
At the minute, no. It's mostly Brentford. They've just had a header from Kevin Shard. There's been a great save from Hermansen to go over the bar for a corner. Samares had to come off for Leicester, so they were playing with 10 men for a few minutes due to a nosebleed, and Brentford really tried to capitalise on playing against 10. They were really putting the pressure on. Now Samares just come back on the pitch, but still 0-0 here just before 10 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, bit of a slower start there as we're seeing at Molineux. The goals flying in. We've also had a goal going in Scotland. Celtic, Brendan Rodgers' side, taking a 1-0 lead inside the first 10 minutes over Ross County. They're going to be absolutely delighted about that. Rio, good win down at AFC Totton. Have we got any updates going on in the 7th tier?
Yes, so there has been a goal. The host strike early to lead 1-0. A corner from Tom Blair was headed to the keeper, but he could only parry it to the 6-yard box. And former Premier League and Southampton player Charlie Austin was home to strike it early, leading the score as 1-0.
Wow, thank you, Rio. Charlie Austin, what a name that is. Formerly of Southampton, like you said, and Queen's Park Rangers. Who would have thought you'd see Charlie Austin down there playing for AFC Totton? Still, no other goals in the FA Cup to speak of. Well, as I say that, Peterborough have just taken a 1-0 lead over Notts County, and I believe we've got a goal going in at Crawley versus Lincoln City. Important game there. Nathan Potter, have you got an update for us?
Yep, it's a goal for Crawley Town. It's Jack Rolls. It was Adi Amiyemo put the ball in from the left-hand flank, set it across the 6-yard box for Jack Rolls, and he's able to find that bottom left corner with his left foot, and it's Crawley Town 1, Lincoln City 0.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Lincoln head in their hands, you would imagine, thinking, oh no, here we go again after losing 3-0 to Crawley Town away earlier in the season. Still nothing going on in the FA Cup. Blackburn Rovers with 5 minutes to go of normal time, still 1-0 up against Leeds United. The former Premier League side still unable to make a breakthrough at Ewood Park. Blackburn will be absolutely delighted with the points that may have come from a Todd Cantwell penalty early in the game, but you will take them as they come. Have we seen any more chances for Nottingham Forest, Diogo?
Not really. It's more been Ipswich. I really think Hutchinson's really looking dangerous on that wing. He's causing some problems for the Nottingham fullback, but nothing's really happening. I thought a bit more would have happened by now, but let's see what happens.
Thank you very much. Yeah, an immediate riposte in the FA Cup though. Peterborough United a few moments ago going 1-0 up over Notts County. Notts County equalising in dramatic style 14 minutes in. That is currently sat level once again at 1-1. We saw earlier Crawley Town taking a 1-0 lead over Lincoln City. And Coventry City, Cardiff City also level at 1 goal apiece in the Championship. How have Newcastle started against Crystal Palace? Have they managed to get into the game a little bit more, Cam?
Yeah, they are in the game a lot more now, dominating the ball at the moment. Oliver Glasner's been going absolutely crazy on the sidelines for Palace, barking orders at his forward players. No real clear-cut opportunities as of yet, but Newcastle definitely growing into the game. A lot of good possession, so I wouldn't be surprised if they create a chance or two in the opening minutes.
Yeah, important game for Newcastle. They've been very inconsistent. You'd almost associate the inconsistency we've seen with Newcastle from Tottenham, obviously losing to Ipswich Town, newly promoted side, and then battering Manchester City. But it's Newcastle that have struggled to string results together, notably that loss early in the week at home to West Ham United, which was a little bit of a kick in the teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. When Newcastle play at home, I think they always expect to get a result, especially with that fan base, such a tough place to go to, St James. So definitely a blow for them losing at home. They've struggled a lot in the first half this season. They've only scored 4 goals in the first half of Premier League games this season, which is actually the lowest in the league. So they'll be hoping to get a goal in the first half today and start quicker. But yeah, definitely a blow on Monday with that defeat against West Ham.
100%. The Geordies looking to bounce back. St James's Park, so often a fortress, but when they leave there, they can be exposed a little bit. We're going to be heading back over to Crawley, though, because Nathan Potter has another goal that's gone in for us, but is it for the home side?
Well, it's another goal for Crawley Town as they lead 2-0 now inside the opening 15 minutes. This time, it was Tola Swamney who put Crawley 2-0 up. And they must be in absolute dreamland inside this opening 15 minutes.
Yeah, dreamland indeed. And deja vu once again for Lincoln City. If it is 3-0 very, very quickly, I think the Lincoln players are going to be scratching their heads because that is an absolutely disastrous start. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Stockport County have taken a 1-0 lead over Brackley Town. And my prediction from earlier on about West Bromwich Albion and Preston North End ending 0-0, that has been completely curtailed because West Brom have scored. They are away from home, but they do lead 1-0. They won't be picking up a 6th goalless draw in the space of 10 games. It is Preston 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. Speaking of the Championship, Stoke City, how are they getting on against Burnley? Have the home side managed to make any inroads on the relegated team?
No, Tom, talking about dreamland, I feel like I actually might fall asleep watching this game. Not really much has happened at all. Both sides are just playing it around the back, trying to keep possession. I mentioned the Stoke chance. Apart from that, there's been absolutely nothing. It looks like both sets of midfielders are struggling to get a grip on the ball. Both sides playing it around the back, I guess trying to stake out the opportunities to create a chance. But as of yet, 15 minutes in, absolutely nothing from me. Yeah.
Not a particularly exciting start. Down in the FA Cup, Notts County have just picked up a 2nd goal, so they now lead away at Peterborough United 2-1, and Charlton Athletic, former Premier League side, taking the lead away at Walsall, that is 1-0. Jumping back to Rio though, AFC Totton had already scored. Have they picked up another one, Rio?
So there is now 2-0 for the hosts. Top scorer Tony Lee has now taken his scoring to 10 for this season in the league. A nice 1-2 between him and Charlie Adams, who picks up the assist, leads him to put it into the bottom right-hand corner, giving the hosts a 2-0 lead.
Wow, flying start. Goals continuing to fly in around the grounds. Thank you very much, Rio. Over in Germany in the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen, that incredible unbeaten Bundesliga title they picked up last season. They haven't quite managed to translate that form into the new campaign under Xabi Alonso, who is heavily linked with Liverpool and with Real Madrid in the summer. They're currently drawing 1-1 away at Union Berlin in the Bundesliga. But Xabi Alonso's side, if we know anything from what happened last season, they're going to be scoring in the 99th minute or something to make it 4-3. One of the most exciting teams in the Bundesliga. FA Cup, more goals going in. Accrington Stanley taking a 1-0 lead over Swindon Town. Swindon Town really struggling towards the foot of League 2. Accrington Stanley doing a little bit better, and they do have the lead for the very first time. Billy, Brentford, how are the Bees getting on?
They're dominating possession. They're on the attack now. Damsgaard in the midfield's been running the show, really, getting the balls out wide to Wissa, Shard and Mbeumo. Not many clear-cut chances so far, but it's a 68% possession to 32 for Brentford. So they're really starting to take control of this game now. And I think it will only be inevitable till they score a goal.
Wow, surprising, especially considering the decent start that Leicester City managed to get, obviously without manager Steve Cooper, who was sacked last weekend, Ben Dawson in charge. We're going to head back over to Molineux, though, because I believe another goal has gone in. Millie Payne, what is happening? It's an absolute goal fest.
Well, we've had another goal here for AFC Bournemouth, so just under 20th minute, it's Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 3. Another penalty, another foul from Evan Nielsen, but this time from Jose Sarr. And Kluivert lined up once again on the penalty spot to take it, to get his second goal of the game in his 50th appearance for AFC Bournemouth. So, like you said, an absolute goal fest here. Here at Molineux, it's Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 3.
Wow, yeah, and you can hear the boos in the background as well. Wolves not happy with how that's going. 20 minutes in, conceding 3 goals already. They're on a run of 4 games without a defeat. I think unless we see a miraculous comeback, they could be ending that run. Bournemouth currently sat in 13th, but looking likely to move above Manchester United temporarily and potentially Brentford as well. Blackburn still 1-0 up. We're into injury time there at Ewood Park. Leeds United are fighting to try and find a goal, but so far they've been unable to. Still no other goals to talk about in the Championship. Stockport County have made it 2-0 in the FA Cup at home to Brackley Town, and the non-league side really struggling there. Nottingham Forest, has Chris Wood managed to get involved yet?
He hasn't really been involved as much as I thought he would have, to be fair. But I think he's just getting used to the game. You know, he didn't play last game, so yeah, he's just getting used to stuff.
Yeah, Chris Wood obviously had his best start to a Premier League season, hadn't scored in his last 2 outings. Have we seen much of Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Callum Hudson-Odoi, surprisingly no. I think Jota Silva is doing a lot more on the pitch in terms of his explosiveness and running at defenders. He's causing many more problems.
Yeah,
than
Hudson-Odoi. Bit of a maverick talent, Hudson-Odoi. Previously at Chelsea, of course, linked with a £50 million moves to Bayern Munich while he was playing for the Blues, and actually only has 1 goal in 8, that coming in that famous away win at Anfield over Liverpool. Norwich City, 6-1 win in their last game, but they have fallen behind in the Championship to Luton Town. Important game for Rob Edwards, and it is Luton taking a 1-0 lead to put the Canaries on the back foot at home. Jumping back over to Nathan, though, have we had more goals going in?
Yeah, it's an absolute cracker of a game. As you could have got one back now, it's Howdy O'Connor with the goal to cut the deficit in half. Eric Ring sent the ball towards that back post. Howdy O'Connor leapt highest and managed to loop his head over the goalkeeper, Eddie Beach. It's Crawley Town 1, Lincoln City 1.
Thank you, Nathan. Potential signs of a comeback, maybe, for Lincoln City. We've had another goal going in the FA Cup. That is Salford City scoring first against Cheltenham Town. That is 1-0 to the side that are partly owned by the class of '92, of course. Now, we've had a big chance at the Bet365 Stadium. Who was it for, though?
Yeah, so it started to liven up here. A big chance for Burnley's Jay Rodriguez. Connor Roberts whipped a fantastic ball into the box, which Stoke City goalkeeper Victor Johansson has completely misjudged. Jay Rodriguez getting his head on the end of it, but it hits the top of the bar and rolls onto the roof of the net. In the process of that as well, Johansson has absolutely clattered Ben Gibson, who's still on the floor receiving treatment at the moment. I think it looks like Stoke are getting ready to make a change. I think that might be the end of the game, unfortunately, for Ben Gibson, who has just been absolutely clattered by his goalkeeper, who made the error. And unfortunately, Gibson has had to pay the consequences of it. It's still 0-0 though here at the Bet365.
May still be 0-0 there, but over at Brentford, I think we have potentially had a goal go in.
Yeah, Buonanotte has scored the goal for Leicester completely against the run of play. It's not a bad finish, to be fair at all. He's come down the wing to Vardy. He's shrugged off Ethan Pinnock, got the ball across, and it's an easy finish for Buonanotte. So it's all down to Jamie Vardy, and on a quick attack, Leicester go 1-0 up, completely against the run of play, and Brentford should be kicking themselves. They're not winning this game.
Yeah, Jamie Vardy once again. You can never stop Jamie Vardy. He loves to have a bit of a go at the opposition fans when he does get on the score sheet. And if he does today as well, I think he'll be having quite the laugh at the Brentford supporters. Back down into the Championship, Coventry City versus Cardiff. Harrison, have things started to calm down a little bit?
And at the moment, it's still Coventry City 1, Cardiff City 1. Since the goal, not been a lot of chances for either team. Obviously, you can tell Frank Lampard's new style of play. Coventry are really trying to play out on the back, but to Cardiff's credit, the press is very a lot of people there. Both teams have got into some decent areas, but they really lacked that final ball. Coventry are slightly on top. They've had a good few openings down the left-hand side, but nothing clear-cut at the moment. So it remains Coventry 1, Cardiff 1.
Thank you, Harrison. Decent start to Frank Lampard's reign in charge. Another goal going in for Salford City. The class of '92 going to be delighted because they are now 2 to the good against Luton Town in the FA Cup. Still some scores that are goalless. Barnsley, Bristol Rovers 0-0, as is Cambridge United versus Wigan Athletic. Exeter City, Chesterfield 0-0. Leyton Orient versus Oldham Athletic. Morecambe versus Bradford City, and Stevenage against Mansfield Town. Back into the Premier League. Still goalless at Selhurst Park?
It is still goalless at Selhurst Park, Tom. Newcastle have actually been forced into an early change. Alexander Isak has been brought off and Harvey Barnes has come on for him. So a big blow for the Geordies. I'm sure Eddie Howe will be disappointed with that. Obviously, Callum Wilson has been out injured for a while. He's returned to the bench today. But yeah, not good at all for them to see Isak go off after 20 minutes. But no real chances to report on, to be honest. Newcastle having more of the ball, but quite a cagey affair. 23 minutes in, Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, Isak, that would be a big loss. The big Swedish striker had picked up 4 goals and 1 assist in his last 6 games after missing 3 games due to a broken toe. But the attack around him not particularly firing either. Harvey Barnes started the season electrically with 3 goals in his first 5 games, only 1 in his next 9. And Anthony Gordon, the star boy taken from Everton a couple of seasons ago, he is goalless in his last 8 games for Newcastle United. Not ideal at all. Diogo, have Nottingham Forest managed to make a breakthrough?
They haven't, but Ipswich almost did. Ipswich had a corner, and luckily Aina, the fullback, has deflected it off the line. So 23rd minute, still 0-0 at the City ground.
Interesting. We have had a goal going in the Championship though. The Canaries, Norwich, equalising against Luton Town. Kernack with the goal in the 25th minute. That is now 1 goal apiece. And Pompey have just scored this second away at Swansea City. The Southampton fans are going to be absolutely cursing that. Portsmouth currently bottom of the table, 2 games in hand due to some postponements, but they do lead 1-0 against Swansea, who have picked up 9 points in their previous 5 games. Back over to Brentford. Have they managed to push for an equaliser against Leicester City?
They have indeed. Johan Wissa has scored his 8th goal of the season, 8 goals in 10 games to bring Leicester back on level with Brentford. So it is 1-1 currently at Brentford against Leicester.
Wow, yeah. Good recovery, good riposte from the Bees there. Still, Blackburn Rovers were into the 97th minute of that Championship tie against Leeds United. Still 1-0 up would be crucial points for Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park. 98 minutes now. Leeds pushing very hard for a winner, but thus far unable to find one. Have we seen any more inroads from Burnley at the Bet365 Stadium?
No, actually, Tom. Stoke are starting to get back into the game a little bit more. They just had a half chance. Million-man hoof. A long ball was played to him. He took it down, took it round the defender, but his shot was just wide of the post. Stoke getting ready for a throw-in into the box now. I think both teams look really, really up for this. Although I did say it was boring, you can tell both sides this is an important game for them. They both need a win. But yeah, at the moment, not too much to report on.
Yeah, interesting. And a little bit more on that Pompey goal. It was completely against the run of play. Their first shot of the game. And listen to this, there's a couple of throwback names. Matt Ritchie, the goal scorer, and Jacob Murphy, the assister. Both former Premier League players, but it is Portsmouth leading 1-0 in Wales, making that long journey up into Wales. Brentford, Leicester, 1-1. Have we seen any kind of reaction from the Leicester side having been pegged back?
Not really so far. I think it's still mostly Brentford with the possession. I mean, the goal was lovely football. Damsgaard down the wing to Shard, and he's just put the ball straight first time across goal for an easy tap in for Johan Wissa to get his 8th goal of the season. So Brentford are getting back into this game now after going 1-0 down, but I think they will go on to win it unless there's another shot goal for Leicester.
Yeah, definitely been in fantastic form, Johan Wissa, this season. Like I said, 8th goal of the season to draw level with Bryant and Bournemouth. Celtic in the Scottish Premier League have picked up a 2nd goal. They now lead 2-0 over Ross County in Serie A. If you're interested in the Italian football, we've got Como taking on Monza, and in the 69th minute, that is 1 goal apiece. And in the Bundesliga, RB Leipzig, who found themselves 3-0 down after 25 minutes, have managed to close the doors a little bit, got to half-time without conceding any more goals. In the Championship, no, in the FA Cup, Walsall against Charlton Athletic. Charlton had gone 1-0 up. They've now gone 2-0 up just before the half-hour point. Charlton 2-0 up, former Premier League side against Walsall, who are definitely struggling at home. Disappointing start for them. Still goalless at Selhurst Park. You would have thought Newcastle could try and make some inroads, but seemingly that Crystal Palace defence is pretty locked at the moment.
Yeah, that poor record that I mentioned earlier from Newcastle, only scoring 4 in opening halves of Premier League games this season, looking like that might come into play once again today. No real threat from either side, to be honest. A bit of a lack of creativity from both teams at the moment. I think Palace will be looking to get Eze on the ball a lot more. He hasn't really had an awful lot of it so far. 27 minutes in though, still Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
Anything from Jean-Philippe Mateta? Only 1 goal in his past 10 games. He really needs to find a little bit of form, the Frenchman. Yeah, he does, especially if Palace are going to stay up this season. He is going to be integral to that. I think he's obviously got 3 goals so far in the league this season. Like you said, been struggling a little bit recently. He does look a little bit isolated up there. He has got, I think it's Ismail Assar who's playing just off him on the right-hand side, but not really seen a great deal of the ball. Palace struggling to get it into his feet at the moment. But yeah, 28 minutes in, 0-0. Okay, back over at Coventry, Harrison Richards. Have we seen a goal for the home side? Have they managed to take the lead?
Not a goal, but a big chance. City, Callum Robinson down the right-hand side does excellently to win the ball in the box. He puts a cross in, which is half cleared, but the clearance falls to meet it on the edge of the box. Right-hand post, but a big chance of half.
Thank you for that, Harrison. Back over at Brentford, are they pushing to try and get the lead from Leicester?
Indeed they are. They have gone 2-1 up. It's great football. It's come quite across, come back out to Kevin Shard, who's actually rifled it in with his right foot to get his first Brentford goal of this season. He hasn't had much luck within goals this year so far, but that's his first goal, and yeah, Brentford could run away with this now. 2-1, and they're playing fantastic football.
Yeah, starting to find their feet. We've had 3 goals in the past 8 minutes. Leicester taking the lead, and then Brentford with the quick-fire double to get the lead back at 2-1. Celtic, mentioned a couple of moments ago, they're 2-0 up in the Scottish Premier League. I've seen Diogo recoiling. Are we seeing something at Nottingham Forest?
It's just Gibbs White. He had a really good chance there to lead Forest, but it's just a poor attempt. Yeah, it's just he's just put no power behind the shot, and it's still 0-0 at the City ground.
Oh, but Selhurst Park, activity.
Yeah, so it's a chance there for Crystal Palace. A great ball flashed across the box from Muniz. It's fallen to Ismail Assar in the middle. He sort of toe punted it, probably about 12 yards out, and it's gone straight down the middle at goalkeeper Nick Pope. Good save from Pope. Definitely the best opportunity of the game so far. But half an hour in now, Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
Interesting stuff. Still 0-0, but clearly getting going a little bit. In La Liga, big result to tell you about as well. Barcelona at home to Las Palmas. Arguably one of the best sides in Europe so far this season, but they've been defeated by 2-1. The La Liga leaders potentially not for much longer as Real Madrid start to get back into form. Back over to the Bet365 stadium in the Championship. Have we had some activity from Stoke City?
Yes, we've had another big Burnley chance. Luca Colliesho is causing absolute nightmares for Eric Bocat down that left wing. He's been running rings around him for the last 10-15 minutes. A great ball was played through to him. He took on his man, beat him, but it was a tame effort at the keeper, which literally just p-rolled. Keeper picked it up. That's about it. Although Luca Colliesho is looking very, very dangerous with Burnley. Hang on, we might have a chance here on the edge of the box as Brown Hill plays it back to Colliesho, I was talking about. Cuts in. And he's tackled. Yeah, still 0-0 here at the Bet365 stadium.
Yeah, the 20-year-old Italian, 2 goals so far this season, but looking like quite the talent brought in by Burnley down in the Championship. Still no more updates from the FA Cup. Accrington Stanley leading Swindon Town 1-0. Crawley Town still 2-1 up against Lincoln City. Peterborough 2-1 down at home to Notts County. Salford City still with that 2-goal lead over Cheltenham Town. Stockport County 2-0 up over Brackley Town, and Charlton Athletic leading Walsall by 2-1. Are the goals still flying in at Brentford?
They're not at the minute. There was a free kick after Lewis Potter run. Wout Fowles takes him down. Mikel Damsgaard takes a free kick. Looked like he was confident, but it sailed over the bar. So unfortunately, it's still 2-1 for Brentford against Leicester.
Yeah, as English supporters, we all get a little bit concerned when we see Mikel Damsgaard standing over a free kick. Remember back to Euro 2020, held in 2021, the semi-final, giving Denmark the lead over England. Are Burnley still pushing to try and get the lead?
Yeah, they're still pushing. Again, they're on the attack. The outlet, the main outlet for Burnley, like I keep saying, is Kuliecho. He is, he's got acres of space on this wing. If you see the Ben Gibson, who didn't actually go off in the end, actually he recovered, came back on. He's barking orders at his midfielders and his other defenders to get tighter to Kuliecho because he looks very dangerous. I think if anything comes from Burnley, it's going to come from him. But still, as we stand, it's Stoke 0, Burnley 0.
And the game at Ewood Park has finished 1-0 for Blackburn Rovers. Leeds United losing, trying to chase down Sheffield United at the top of the table, but for the time being will remain 3 points adrift of the Blaze, who of course were relegated last season from the Premier League, finishing bottom. Todd Cantwell scored for Blackburn in that game, and his old club Norwich City have just taken the lead at home to Luton Town. They went 1-0 down, but they have managed to pull it back with a double to lead 2-1 after 34 minutes. We haven't gone over to Nottingham Forest for a little while. Is it a bit of a 50-50 game at the moment?
I would say 50-50, but again, nothing really going on. The only highlight is that Connor Chaplin, he went down, but for an injury, it was looking like he was going to get off, but I think he's fine to play now. But still 0-0.
Interesting.
For Nottingham Forest and Ipswich.
Yeah, it looks like everything's stabilised after quite a manic start. Still 3-1. Bournemouth lead at Molineux against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Disappointing for the men in orange there. Trying to pick up 3 wins on the bounce, but it's looking like a very tall order indeed. Going down, we have started the second half in the German Bundesliga. RB Leipzig 3-0 down at home to Wolfsburg. Can they pull off a miraculous comeback to get back level? And what can we see from Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen? They haven't quite been the same since they lost 4-0 in the Champions League to Arne Slott's Liverpool, have they? They've struggled a little bit recently. Celtic still 2-0 up as well in the SPL. Back over to Brentford, 2-1 the scoreline when we last spoke to you, Billy. Is it 3-1 or is it 2-2?
At the minute, it's still 2-1, I think. It might be slightly slow here, but the centre-half of Leicester has gone down again. He went down after the Johan Wisser goal. Just trying to find out who it is. It is Caleb Okoli who's gone down. I think he's coming off for Vestergaard now, as he's been down multiple times during the game so far. So still 2-1 to Brentford. They are playing a lot better football than Leicester at the minute. Leicester don't look in the game after the positive start they had, going 1-0 up and playing better football in the first 10 minutes. So unfortunately for Leicester fans, it's still 2-1, and yeah.
Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy definitely with a big job on his hands when he comes in for the next game. We're going to head back over to Toby Chapman, though, who is in Oxford. What is happening, Toby?
Guys, good to catch back up with you. I've been quite envious of hearing all of these scores coming in, and just as I was starting to think, it was getting to get a bit hopeless, another goal came in. Corner gets whipped in, gets onto the head of Josh Ashby, and he's able to make it 2-0 to Oxford City. So they lead here against Farsley Celtic, 2-0.
Thank you very much, Toby. We've had some quite heavy exhaling from the panel just to my left. We're going to go down the line, starting off with Ben. What's happening in the Championship?
Yeah, great chance for Stoke. Tom Cannon does well, beats 2 Burnley defenders, plays the ball back across to Walster Berger. His shot is blocked by Conrad Egan-Riley, the Burnley centre-half. It was a great chance. A lot of Stoke players complaining for handball, but I think what happened was the ball cannoned off the underside of his leg and then hit his trailing arm. I think going back to what we were talking about VAR earlier, I think it's really great to see the players just carrying on. The ref hasn't given the decision. There's not players running up to the referee, screaming, putting their hands in the air. They know it's not going to be given. They just carried on playing. I think that's what I love to see, and that's why I love watching Championship games. I think that VAR is a great thing, but having no VAR, it just feels like real football.
Yeah, definitely. Flow's much better, I think. And we've had it in the League Cup in the past couple of seasons as well, having no VAR to try and interfere with what's going on. Selhurst Park, 37 minutes in. Are we still goalless?
We are still goalless, but Palace should be a goal up. They had a great opportunity a couple of minutes ago. The ball fell to Ismaila Sarr on the right wing. He was breaking away, plenty of space in front of him. He's flashed a great ball towards the back post, which Muniz has got onto. He's come onto it on his left foot, which I think is his weaker foot. He's just put it wide of the back post. But Palace should have taken the lead, a real good opportunity for them. 36 minutes in, still Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
How surprised are you by the fall-off of Crystal Palace? Because they ended last season when Oliver Glasner came in replacing Roy Hodgson absolutely brilliantly. Picked up, I think it was 5 wins from their last 6 games. This season, the first 12, only the 1 victory. What's happened there? I don't understand what's gone wrong.
I think it's hard to put your finger on exactly why it's gone so badly wrong for Palace so far. I think the loss of Michael Olise, obviously in the summer, to Bayern Munich was always going to be a big issue for them. They were going to have to address that in the window and bring in a replacement for Olise. I don't think they have replaced him directly. Obviously, they do have Ismaila Sarr, who is a threat out wide. But I think creatively they are definitely missing Olise since he's moved to Bayern in the summer. But a big surprise, I didn't think they'll drop off this far down the table, I must say. So Glasner needs to turn it around quickly.
Diogo, have we had some updates from Nottingham Forest?
A couple of minutes ago, Ipswich actually had a really good chance. They were moving into the final third, and then the ball goes to Hutchinson on the wing again. He's having a really good game. And then he plays a low shot, but luckily the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper made a really good save. Dalot could have had a rebound and scored, but he had a really poor touch, and it just leaded to the Nottingham Forest defence just clearing it. So yeah, still 37th minute, Nottingham Forest and Ipswich 0-0.
Sounds like a nice little end-to-end game. 40 minutes in at Celtic Park, and Brendan Rodgers' side are 4-0 up over Ross County. He's doing a brilliant job there after getting sacked by Leicester a few seasons ago. Also in the SPL, Motherwell at home to Hibernian. They're fallen 1-0 behind. Disappointment for the Scottish side there. I can see Billy with his head in his hands. What's going on at Brentford?
Well, Brentford had a chance. Everything's coming down from Lewis Potter. He's been playing brilliant. And then they cut inside, and one good pass in, and Norgard could have a shot on goal. He passes it to him, and instead of shooting first time, Norgard decides to take a touch in the Leicester box, and then it's just a scramble after that, and Leicester clear the ball. But stupid decision making, I think, from Norgard there. If he hits it first time, it's a shot on target, it's a shot on goal. But still, all Brentford at the minute.
Yeah, Keno Spotter hasn't actually scored in the league so far this season, but clearly looking incredibly dangerous for the Bees. Down to the Championship, still 0-0. Stoke versus Burnley?
Yeah, still 0-0 here. It's calmed down a bit since those 2 big chances from either side. Not really too much going on. I think that Stoke have settled into the game now. It looked all Burnley. Like I said, obviously the Burnley wingers were looking very dangerous. But now Stoke has settled into it. It looks like they've attempted to compact their midfield to force Burnley to play backwards, which I'm guessing is what Stoke wants. They've been told by their manager. But yeah, Burnley just keeping possession at the moment, looking for the areas to play the ball into, but there's not really too much. Both teams defending well. So yeah, Tom, it's still 0-0 here at the Bet365.
Yeah, going to be difficult for Stoke to score. Like you said earlier, Burnley off the back of 4 consecutive clean sheets and 3 wins on the bounce. Let's have a little bit of a non-league update. Down in the National League, Braintree versus Gateshead. That is currently sat at 2 goals apiece, 41 minutes in. Ipswich Town versus Boston United is goalless. Southend United, formerly of League One and above, they are 1-0 up over Halifax Town. Hartlepool versus Barnet, 0-0. Same with Sutton United versus Fylde. Yeovil Town, formerly of the Championship in years gone by, they are 1-0 up away at Woking. And then York City, 4-1 up over Maidenhead United after just 35 minutes. And Celtic have scored again in the SPL. They are 5-0 up over Ross County, absolutely cruising. Hibernian also now 2-0 up over Motherwell away from home. In Germany, the goals not going in. This been a little bit calmer in the FA Cup, although we have had a red card for Swindon Town. They're already 1-0 down against Accrington Stanley and now down to 10 men. Ben, any updates from the Championship?
No, still nothing, okay. Unfortunately. Cam, anything from your Crystal Palace game?
Unfortunately not at the moment, Ben, although Sarr's just, I thought he was going to close down Nick Pope there. He was just pressing the ball as a one-on-one. I thought he was going to get hold of it. Not really too many clear-cut chances other than the one I mentioned earlier where Palace probably should have taken the lead with Munoz at the back post. I think Eddie Howe will probably be pretty frustrated with how his side have played in the first half. No real chances of note for Newcastle to speak about.
Yeah, Newcastle, they've been good defensively this season, 13 goals conceded, but only 13 goals scored. It probably explains why they're 12th in the league. Back to the FA Cup, back to Crawley Town. I think we have had a goal go in. Nathan Potter, what's happening?
Yeah, it's Crawley 2, Lincoln at 2. This time it's Jovan McCullough with a goal. Crawley can get the ball cleared. It fell back to Deriqua. He put it back in. And it's McCullough whose header loops over Eddie Breach in goal. And it's Crawley Town 2, Lincoln City 2.
Thank you, Nathan. Coming back from 2-0 down Lincoln City to equalise before half-time. In the Championship, though, Ben has absolutely, well, he's flown back from his seat because something has gone on. What was it?
I've flown back from my seat because all I want to do is see a goal, and they're coming so close. And Stoke are through again. Oh, and Cannon's offside. Brilliant, brilliant chance for Stoke. Cannon does well to beat the defender, but his shot is played straight against the keeper. It falls on the edge to Tazuki Seko, who tries a back heel from the edge of the box, and it's somehow cleared off the line by Maxime Esteve. Still 0-0 here. Stoke looking like the most likely to score though. Tom Cannon, obviously the Leicester loanee, scored 7 goals so far this season. I think we all know how good he is. He's a natural goal scorer. But Burnley are living dangerously here at the moment at the Bet365.
Yeah, not ideal. Thankfully, we have got wheels on our chairs. Otherwise, I think you could have been going head over heels when you flew backwards there in excitement. Back to Brentford. Is it still 2-1 to the Bees, Willie?
It is still 2-1. Matthias Jensen's gone down holding his hamstring and he's had to come off for Janelt. Good decision. I think he wanted to play on, but Thomas Frank had none of it and brought him off straight away. Still 2-1. At the minute, Leicester have a throw-in. Oh no, a corner, sorry. Let's see. This is the first corner for Leicester this game. Let's see if they can muster up anything from this corner. Buonanotte to take. If he takes it.
Building up the suspense, that's fine. Drama.
And absolutely nothing. And Buemo heads clear. Back in the box, and it's eaten up by Flecken. So back in Brentford's hand.
The classic case of the anti-climax. Still, are Burnley pushing for the lead, or is it still Stoke City on top?
It's still Stoke City on top, and they're getting ever so close. Burnley look like they don't know what to do with the Stoke attackers at the moment. Millionaire Manhoff is tearing up Connor Roberts, plays the ball into the box. It's just slightly behind Tom Cannon, who just can't get to it, and Burnley clear. But yeah, like I said, Burnley are living really dangerously here. I think they'll be happy to go into half-time, 2 minutes left, at 0-0 with how the game's going at the moment.
Huge opportunity for Burnley with Leeds United losing away at Blackburn Rovers. Portsmouth have gone 2-0 up just on the brink of half-time away at Swansea City. That goal picked up by Josh Murphy after he picked up the assist for Matt Ritchie's opener just before half-time. That is 2-0. Elsewhere in the Championship, Bristol City, Plymouth Argyle still 0-0. Norwich still 2-1 up over Luton Town. Preston, West Brom, that is still 1-0 to West Bromwich Albion as well. However, Coventry City versus Cardiff City in the Championship. Harrison, has Frank Lampard's side managed to make a breakthrough to try and get back into the lead of this game?
No, but they really should have. It's still 1-0, but a ball in from the left. His pitch is pin perfect, and Bassett is free in the middle. He loses his man, but he must lose sight of the ball as well because he completely misses the ball. And the Cardiff defender obviously doesn't expect it. It hits him and rolls just wide of the right-hand post, but Frank Lampard's men will be kicking themselves at that one because that was a big chance. But it does remain here 1-1.
Thank you, Richard. Classic comedy football there. The old swing and miss. I think we all love to see a little bit of that. Still very calm in the FA Cup as well. No more goals to speak of. Celtic haven't gone 6-0 up. That is into extra time in the first half. Back over to Nottingham Forest. We're in injury time as well. Are we still 0-0?
Yeah, it's still 0-0. The only highlight that's really happened is Gibbs and Morsey seem to get in a bit of a fight after he tried to pull his shorts down. I'm not really that surprised that Morgan Gibbs-White is not too happy about that. But now, it's coming to an end now. We'll see if either side can break the deadlock.
100%. Sticking with the Premier League, heading over to Molineux, we saw 4 goals go in the opening 18 minutes. Bournemouth had a 3-1 lead. Have things stabilised, Millie Price?
Well, Well, yeah, no goals since then, but we have gotten to the stage where we now have 8 minutes of added time here before we reach the break at Molineux. No real chances, no shots on target for either side since those 3 goals at the start. A couple of penalty shouts for Wolves, though. They've been unlucky not to receive them, but still plenty of time for Wolves to get back into the game with about 6 minutes of this half remaining. Still at Molineux, and it's Wolves 1, Bournemouth 3.
Thank you very much, Millie. Payne, not Price, getting my words messed up there. We are in injury time in most games now. Brentford, Leicester, still 2-1 to the Bees. Have we seen anything from the Foxes in the recent few minutes?
There's a few half chances from Leicester. They're putting balls into the box, but nothing really going on target. Is 7 minutes here added on time with the 2 injuries that went on. One for Leicester with Okoli and one for Jensen for Brentford. But at the minute, it's still mostly Brentford with Leicester trying, pushing, but not really any clear-cut chances so far.
Yeah, interesting. We have had another goal in the Championship. Pompey were 2-0 up, but for just a moment because Swansea City in the 3rd minute of injury time have pulled a goal back. That is currently 2-1. Swindon Town in the FA Cup down to 10 men, but very late on in the first half have equalised against Accrington Stanley. That is now 1-1 in the Championship. Ben, once again flying back in the chair. Is it Burnley or is it Stoke?
It is no one, unfortunately. It's a big chance, though, for Stoke again. So I'm really getting into this game now. Tom Cannon, once again, is causing all kinds of problems for the Burnley centre-halves. He heads the ball past Igor Riley, looks to be through on goal, but blazes a shot over the bar. Cannon straight up and screaming at the referee for a penalty. However, there's no chance he's getting that. It's just a shoulder-to-shoulder. He's just been beaten for strength there. But yeah, 1 minute left here, 3 minutes added on. Yeah, still Burnley and Stoke 0-0, sorry.
Yeah, still 0-0, the classic line. Back to the Premier League. Reaching half-time in Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. Are we still level? Have there been a late attack in the half for either side?
There's not really been any late attacks. Actually, the first half just ended now as we're speaking. Yeah, it's really been a dull game. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. I'm feeling a bit left out, considering the other games are getting 2+ goals. But
yeah, I feel the same as that.
Yeah, but hopefully the second half has more to bring.
Yeah, we need to spread the goals around a little bit. Heading over to Chance, who we haven't heard since the start of the broadcast. Sholing versus Winchester City. What is happening down in non-league, Chance?
Sholing 0, Winchester City 0. Not the most exciting of games goal-wise, obviously 0-0. Sholing controlled possession for parts of the first half, but I think it's quite even chance for both sides. Let's hope we get some goals in the second half. Sholing 0, Winchester City 0.
Yeah, hopefully we can have a little bit more action for you, Chance there. Game starting to reach half-time in the Championship. Bristol City 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. Wayne Rooney hasn't managed to concede a bucket load of goals for the first time in a few games. Norwich City 2-1 up still over Luton Town as we reach half-time. The same scoreline has remained for Preston North End over West Bromwich Albion. The Baggies 1-0 up. And it has just gone to half-time between Swansea and Portsmouth. The Welsh side 2-1 down at home at the moment. Getting very close to half-time in the Crystal Palace Newcastle game. Have we had anything from the Magpies?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. We're currently in minute 49. We had 5 minutes added time, so nearly at the end of the first half now. Palace had a flurry of corners a moment ago, and they did come very close actually to taking the lead. There's a good ball in from Will Hughes, and the centre-back, the Crow, met the header just wide of the post. Not a bad opportunity, but still Palace 0, Newcastle 0, nearly at half-time now.
Yeah, not ideal at all in that game. Brentford, Leicester, we're coming towards the end of those 7 minutes that Billy spoke about. Any attacks from either side?
There might be a handball shout from Connor Cody. They're trying to take it quick, Brentford. It's Wissa. At the minute, it's all Brentford, and it's all coming down the left-hand side through Damsgaard and Lewis Potter linking up. There's been a push in the box. Shard's been on the floor. Michael Oliver says no chance of getting a penalty now when they're 2-1 up just before half-time. So still 2-1 here at Brentford-Leicester.
And expecting that to remain as we go into the break. Into the FA Cup, Crawley Town versus Lincoln City. Was 2-2 the last time we spoke to you, Nathan. Have you got any more updates in the latter stages of the first half?
Well, it's half time here. It's Crawley Town 2, Lincoln City 2. The second part of the first half was all Lincoln City. obviously Crawley took the 2-0 lead. Lincoln turned it around to make it 2-2. Since the last game to, it was a great double save by Eddie Beach. Ball was sent in from the right flank. Freddie Draper got there first. His header saved from 12 yards. Dariqua's follow-up was once again saved from 6 yards.
Thank you very much, Nathan, for that. Moving into the Championship, Coventry City versus Cardiff City was 1-1. Frank Lampard's side able to pull a goal back. Harrison Richards has been watching that one. Is it still level at half-time, Harrison?
Yeah, it is half-time here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. It is 1-1. Coventry were getting on top towards the end of the half, but Cardiff have held their own, to be fair. Coventry obviously had that big misheader, or not header, you could say, which Bassett should have done much better with. Despite being on top, I think Frank Lampard will have a few words with his boys at half-time. But half-time here, Coventry 1, Cardiff City 1.
Thank you very much for that, Harrison. In the Bundesliga, Wolfsburg now 4-0 up away at RB Leipzig. Absolutely terrible stuff for the Red Bull backside. Reaching half-time in a lot of the FA Cup games as well, as we have done in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. Is it still level?
Yeah, it's already level now. Still level 0-0. But Nottingham Forest, I would say, had the best chances of the game. But Hutchinson, as I mentioned many times before, is looking really dangerous down that wing. Yeah, Chris Wood, I haven't really seen. Delap have seen briefly, but again, not what I was expecting of him.
Still goalless at Nottingham Forest, but Billy, as we reach half-time, are we having a goal for the Bees?
It's in the 52nd minute. It's right at the end of half-time. Damsgaard passes it through, and it's Kevin Shard again for the second goal of the game and the second goal for Brentford this season. He's on his left foot, gone to the back post shot, off the post and in. 3-1 to Brentford. Brilliant game.
Fantastic stuff from the Bees there. Down in Serie A, the game between Como and Monza has just finished. Como were a goal to nil up, but a late equaliser from Monza, sharing the points between the pair of them. Now, moving further down the football pyramid. Rio, have you got any updates for us? Rio, good win.
Yeah, so it's half-time here at the Snow Stadium. It is currently 2-0 still to the host, Totton. Slowed down a bit towards the end after that second goal, coming from Charlie Austin, who managed to make up for a keeper error before top scorer Tony Lee managed to get his 10th for the season. The host seemed to start coming back into it slowly, but couldn't quite capitalise. Currently at the end of the half, 2-0 still.
Thank you very much for that, Rio. I believe we have reached half-time in all of our games taking place in England so far. Benji, just want to round us up on how things finished between Burnley and Stoke?
Yeah, so 0-0 here at half-time. Stoke really were growing into the game at the end of that first half. I think they had 2 or 3 chances, arguably they should have scored. First half, it was all Burnley, like I said. Luca Colliesho, the danger man, they couldn't make anything of it, but Stoke had 2-3 chances at the end of the half. I think half-time definitely came at a good time for Burnley. I think Scott Parker will get his men to regroup and tell them to just basically keep doing what they're doing, just put a bit more pressure on the Stoke side. But yeah, as it stands at half-time here at Bet365, it is Stoke 0, Burnley 0.
Yeah, Scott Parker, manager with a good reputation of getting teams out of the Championship. Did it with Fulham a few years ago, doing it with Burnley as well. Billy, just to round off our Premier League fixtures, ending the half, was there any more late drama over at Brentford?
There wasn't. I think that goal was the final kick of the game. Leicester take the ball, kick it back to Hermansen, and the refs blown the whistle almost immediately. So last kick of the first half, really, for Shard to score off the inside of the post. It's a great finish and a great move from Brentford. They're playing lovely football through this first half, and I think this might end badly for Leicester. And you were definitely right earlier. Ruud van Nistelrooy has got a big job on his hands.
Yeah, the Foxes fans could be worried that it might turn into somewhat of a cricket score if this continues in the second half. We're at half-time in Scotland as well. Celtic 5-0 up over Ross County. Didn't see any late goals. To round off our Premier League fixtures, Wolves versus Bournemouth at Molineux. Millie, how did that one finish?
You keep getting my name wrong all over the place this afternoon, but it's all right, I'll forgive you. At half-time here, it is Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 3, and the second half managed to calm down towards the end, even with those 8 minutes of added time once we finally reached the break. But, you know, some more threats on goal from Wolves coming after Bournemouth have really threatened and gotten that, but now they've sat back and let Wolves attack a little bit, but no real shots on target for them so far. 2 penalty shouts as well, which Wolves were unlucky to receive. But I will go pop and get half-time tea and bring you reports into the second half. Half-time here, Wolves 1, AFC Bournemouth 3.
Thank you very much, Millie. M's and W's, they're very similar, you know, they're just, one of them's upside down. Wolves in there as well, Wolverhampton Wanderers, too many of the same letter going on. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, finished that 0-0 at half-time, did it?
Yeah, so 0-0 at half-time. Pretty disappointing half for Eddie Howe. I think, again, they're struggling for goals in the first half, so definitely be looking to improve upon the second half.
Cool, thank you very much for that. We'll just go through all of the fixtures very quickly as we have reached the interval. Brentford, Leicester, that was 3-1 over at Billy. The Bees looking very, very impressive, you would say.
Very comfortable at the minute. I think Leicester definitely need to change something coming down their right-hand side, Brentford's left, because most of the goals have come down that side from Shard, who's got 2, and Lewis Potter, who's been playing brilliantly, really. He's been in nearly every attack that Brentford have had. Leicester definitely need to change something for the second half, because otherwise it could be bad for them. Could be a bad score.
100%, yeah. Crystal Palace, Newcastle United 0-0, as we just mentioned. Nottingham Forest, Ipswich Town 0-0 as well. Do you see any side making a potential breakthrough, Diogo?
I think it's 50-50 right now. They've had similar chances, equal chances, and now, yeah, we just have to wait and see. I'm not able to commentate on much because there hasn't really been much. I think that's just due to the tactics of the game. But yeah, let's see what happens now.
Bit of a damp squib of a game, if you like. And then the final game in the Premier League, that is still 3-1 for Bournemouth at Molineux. Down into the Championship, Middlesbrough earlier on beating Hull City by 3-1. Oxford United drawing 1-1 with Millwall. Watford dropping points in a home 0-0 draw against QPR, who are nestled in the relegation zone. And Blackburn Rovers with an impressive win over Leeds United. Stoke City versus Burnley was 0-0. Burnley hanging on in the second half. What do you think Scott Parker has to do to try and change this?
I think he's just got to tell his side to essentially keep doing what they're doing, keep playing the balls to the space in the wide areas where they can attack the Stoke defence. I think this is a very, very important second half for both sides. Stoke, although they're only 6 points above the top relegation side, they're actually only 6 points off the playoffs. Obviously, like you mentioned earlier, Leeds succumbed earlier, they lost. So this is a great opportunity for Burnley as well to capitalise on that. Like I said, I think it's a very, very important second half for both sides. I think both sides have had chances. Both sides have been playing decent. I think it's going to be interesting, this one. I think it will be interesting to see the result of this game.
Yeah, definitely. Could go either way, you would say. Other 0-0 scorelines in the Championship. Bristol City, Plymouth Argyle 0-0. Coventry City, Cardiff City 1-1. Frank Lampard did get a goal in his first half as Coventry boss, but still level there. Norwich City coming from 1-0 down to lead Luton Town by 2-1. Preston 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. And then Swansea with a late goal back home at home to Portsmouth, with that scoreline sat at 2-1. In League 2, Carlisle United, Crewe Alexandra, that ended 1-1, and Fleetwood Town, Colchester United also ending 0-0. The FA Cup was pretty exciting as well. We had a lot of goals flying in. That was exciting to hear.
Yeah, that's what we love to see, isn't it? Goals, goals, goals. Unfortunately, can't be said for my game. Trust my luck to pick the game that's 0-0 at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Cam, we all love goals flying in, don't we? That's what we love football for.
Yeah, we would love to see a few more coming in our games, Ben. Still 0-0 here at Selhurst Park. Like I mentioned earlier, I think Newcastle really struggling in the first half of games. Didn't really have an awful lot going forward whatsoever. Obviously not helped by the fact that Alex Isak was pulled off after 20 minutes or so. But Callum Wilson is on the bench, so hopefully we'll get a chance to see him come on at some point in the second half. Obviously he's been out for a while. So yeah, massive second half coming up for Eddie Howe's men.
Other scores in the FA Cup to go through: Wealdstone United versus Wycombe Wanderers was the early kickoff. That ended 2-0 to Wycombe. Accrington Stanley 1, Swindon Town 1. Swindon had a man sent off, but did manage to pull a goal back. Barnsley 0, Bristol Rovers 0. The same scoreline for Cambridge United against Wigan Athletic. We've been hearing a lot of updates from Crawley Town versus Lincoln City. Crawley were 2-0 up. Lincoln City thinking, here we go again, deja vu. They had already lost 3-0 away at Crawley earlier in the season, but pulled it back to finished the half level at 2 goals apiece. Exeter City 1, Chesterfield 0, 0-0 at Leyton Orient and Oldham Athletic. The same scoreline for Morecambe versus Bradford City. Peterborough 1 goal down at home to Notts County. That score is 2-1. Salford 2-0 up at home to Cheltenham Town. Mansfield and Stevenage just started the second half. That is 0-0. Stockport County 2, Brackley Town 0, and then Walsall 0. Charlton Athletic 2. In the Bundesliga, it's now 4-0 Wolfsburg over RB Leipzig, and Freiburg are 3-1 up over Borussia Mönchengladbach. The late kickoff. We have Der Klassiker coming at 5:30. Borussia Dortmund hosting Bayern Munich. You would imagine that's going to be an absolute classic. And as I've been talking about goals going in the FA Cup, Mansfield Town have just taken the lead over Stevenage away from home. That is now 1-0. In our little interval then, we're going to test our panel's footballing ability, and I think everybody will love to see that. If you've heard of the television programme Tenable, you have to try and guess 10 answers that fit into a category, the top 10 answers. So we're going to see how much our panel actually know. This could be a very interesting one. I've got 3 questions, and you have to name the top 10 in each of these categories. Are you prepared for this?
Hit me, let's go.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Let's kick it off. So the first one I'm going to give you: highest scoring non-English players in the Premier League. Just shout them out.
Aguero.
That is number 1.
Salah.
Salah is
Number
correct.
1
That is
straight
number
away.
3.
Van Persie.
Robin van Persie is number 4.
Firmino.
Roberto Firmino is not on there. No.
Mario Balotelli?
Mario Balotelli's not on there either.
Not on there.
Luis Suarez.
Luis Suarez is not on there either.
Really? Suarez not on there?
No. Three Liverpool players, 3 Liverpool forwards, but none of them actually have 100 Premier League
Didier
goals.
Drogba.
Oh, it's got to be.
Didier Drogba is 13th on the list. 104 goals.
Dennis Bergkamp.
Dennis Bergkamp is not
Oh,
there.
Henry.
Thierry Henry.
How have we
Most
forgot about
famous
Henry?
one, 175 goals for the
Henry.
Frenchman and the Arsenal legend. So you have currently got the top 4.
We've got the top 4.
Perhaps Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
No Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in there.
That's a
Any
terrible
chance you could
take
give us a
there,
little
Cam.
clue?
We've got...
Is that allowed in this game, or?
I think we can allow clues. Let's try and allow clues. We've got one person that is currently still playing in the Premier League.
Haaland.
No.
Still playing in the Premier League?
Still playing in the Premier League for a top 6 club.
Top 6 club.
Son.
Heung-min Son, 8th place on the list, 123 goals there. Where should we go next? Let's go for number 10. Big name, a lot of Premier League clubs that they've played for. Not all of them have been successful.
Sterling.
Not Raheem Sterling.
Tevez. It's non-English.
Oh yeah, non-English.
Tevez.
Not Carlos Tevez, no.
Oh. It's got hard now. I think we've named all the ones that come straight to my head.
Yeah. I'm running out of ideas here.
Yeah. He still plays now, did you say?
Still plays
In the
in
Prem?
Italy, Belgian.
Hazard.
Oh, Lukaku.
Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, Lukaku.
Sometimes joke because his first touch wasn't particularly good that he was playing in Timberland boots, but he has got himself 121 Premier League goals. Let's move to number 5 now. Maybe a bit of a rogue one. I don't know if you would think about this one. Famous for his stint at Chelsea back in the early 2000s.
Fernando Torres?
No, not Torres, not Zola.
Chelsea early 2000s.
Cam, you're the Chelsea expert, aren't you?
Yeah, go on, Cameron.
Was involved, maybe not involved. Shall I give you a clue on this one?
Shevchenko came to my head, but I don't think he scored too
Not
many goals,
Shevchenko, no.
5th.
Oh, that's an interesting one. What position?
He was a striker.
He was a striker.
Maybe Crespo.
Not Crespo.
I have no idea.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. There we go.
Oh, dude.
That is
why
incredible.
he's the Chelsea
ball
expert.
right there. Number 6, Irish international, been retired for a little while.
It's got to be
Robbie Keane.
Robbie Keane is correct. Number 7, Robbie Keane on 126, by the way, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank on 127. Number 7 on the list with 125, Frenchman. Chelsea's probably the club he's known for most, although he did have stints at a couple of other Premier League clubs.
Giroud.
Not Giroud.
Nicholas Anelka.
Nicholas Anelka. Now they're coming. We're getting into a good rhythm here. We've got 9 out of the 10. The final one, Manchester United.
Manchester United.
123 goals.
Maybe
Cantona.
No.
Not Ray or York?
Dwight York.
Dwight York.
Dwight York, yeah, in at number
Robert
9, and then
Robert.
Robert. For anybody interested, the other 4 players over the 100 goal club: Sadio Mane, 11th, 111 goals; Ryan Giggs, 109; Didier Drogba, like I said, 104; and then Cristiano Ronaldo on 103.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was an interesting one.
That
You
was.
started off like an absolute train and then just sort of tailed off a little bit.
It
Let's
all
move
went
down to.
downhill, yeah.
Let's go away from players. Let's move to clubs this time. So I'm going to ask you, which clubs have the most seasons in the Premier League, excluding the traditional Big Six? So that is Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham.
Everton?
Everton.
Yeah, I would say
Everton is
Everton was
correct.
mine for-
Yeah.
Is that number 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Might not be for much longer though.
Might not be.
Newcastle's got to be fairly high.
Newcastle in there, yes.
Crystal Palace?
Crystal Palace are in there in 9th place.
Oh, Crystal.
16 Premier League seasons.
West Ham?
West Ham are in there, yes, sat in 4th at the moment.
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, yes, you've got the top
Yeah, I was
4.
going to say Villa.
Does Tottenham count as a top 6 team?
Tottenham do, yeah, it's a questionable one.
It is a questionable one.
They did beat Man City 4-0 just the other week, but
Any other ideas, guys?
Fulham?
Fulham, yes, in there in 7th place, 18 seasons to their name.
Come on.
We've got a couple of Premier League champions in there that you haven't mentioned.
Maybe Leicester City. Yeah.
Leicester City in 8th.
Yeah.
Another one as well.
I bet everyone's screaming the answers out there on the other side of that.
Is it Blackburn Rovers?
It is Blackburn Rovers, 18 seasons in the league. 2 more.
Nottingham Forest?
Not Nottingham Forest.
Sunderland?
Sunderland in 10th place with 16. And for people that are watching Solent Sports News, they'll be disappointed that you haven't got this last one.
Oh, Southampton.
Southampton,
Oh my
25 seasons in the Premier League.
Completely forgot about Saints.
That's poor, guys.
That
That's
is
really
poor
poor.
from us.
Yeah.
Teams that have just missed out in 11th and 12th.
Oh, yo, wait.
We had Middlesbrough and Leeds United on 15. Couple in there as well. Bolton on 13. West Bromwich Albion on 13 as well. Diogo.
I got distracted by the football tenable because Chris Wood now has a penalty.
Chris Wood as well.
He's now got a penalty. Let's see what he does.
Chris Wood with a penalty. Nottingham Forest a chance to get into the lead. He's already scored 12 so far this season.
He has scored the number 11. He's got another goal. Chris Wood. It's just what he does now. He scored. Was it it might be his 7th or 8th in the Premier League. Do fact check that though.
I think that might be his 9th league goal of the
9th,
season.
yes,
Chris
Wood. But Chris Wood now, he's finally got back into the game. 1-0 Nottingham Forest.
1-0 Forest. We are going to start jumping back around the grounds though as the half-time team talks has finished. We're going to go over to Nathan Potter though. Crawley versus Lincoln City was very, very exciting in the first half. That is currently sat at 2-2. We're going to go to Harrison Richards at Coventry instead though. That is level. Can Frank Lampard's side try and find a breakthrough, or have they fallen behind?
Well, whatever Frank Lampard said at half-time has clearly not worked, because it is Cardiff who go 2-1 up. An unbelievable strike from Alex Robertson. He picks the ball up from 25 yards out. He cuts across it and it flies into the bottom right-hand corner. Absolutely no chance for the keeper. A great strike. And Cardiff deserve that. They've started the half really well. So, at the CBS Stadium, it is Coventry 1, Cardiff City 2.
Thank you, Harrison. Frank Lampard under the cosh straight away. And he is not going to be pleased about that. Early goal in the Championship as well. Norwich City were 2-1 up at half-time over Luton Town. They have just been pulled back. It is now 2-2 at Carrow Road. We're getting underway in our games as well. Have we seen anything so far from the Magpies?
Not just yet. It's been quite a slow start to the second half. No changes from either side. Newcastle just trying to get an early spell of possession by the looks of it. But no real opportunities as of yet. It's been a little bit of a slow start, although Anthony Gordon is in behind here. And it's gone out for a Newcastle corner, so maybe I'll have something in a moment or two for you.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon chasing a goal because he does need one. Goalless in his last 8 appearances. We're going to head back down the leads to Chance Tromwick, looking at the Sholing Winchester game. Chance, have you had a goal for us?
We have had a goal. I said I wanted a goal in the second half. It came early. Sholing 0, Winchester City 1. IK Hill, the main man for Winchester City, scored from the spot. A deadlock has been broken. Sholing 0, Winchester City 1.
Well, thank you, Chance. Finally, you've got a bit of action down there at the non-league club. We're going to move straight over to Crawley Town, with Nathan Potter against Lincoln City. 2-2 going in at the break. Is it still level?
Well, this game has been completely turned on its head. Lincoln City have found 2 quick-fire goals to turn this game on its head. It's Crawley Town 2, Lincoln City 4. The first goal coming from Eric Ring. He struck a volley from the edge of the area, found the roof of the net. The second one coming from Jack Moylan inside that 6-yard box, and what a game it is.
Wow, sounds it. Thank you very much for that, Nathan. 2-4 now the score. That is absolutely incredible. Toby Chapman down at Oxford City as well. I think you've got a bit of a guest for us, Toby.
Hi guys, welcome back down to Oxford. It's still 2-0 here. We've moved down to the other side because we've been looking at the work coming in from, let me just remind myself of his name. It's gone now. Jaden Carbon, that's the man. He's been tearing it up down the right-hand side here for Oxford City. I've just been stopped here by George. George has come out all the way down from Leeds to come and support Farsley Celtic. George, anything to cheer about?
Other than the food, not so much. It's been an awkward game, hasn't it, so far? It's been very much Oxford. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see my club where it is, but just tell you what, we still have a club, and that's the positives in this game, unfortunately.
The other positive you mentioned is the food. Do you mind if we get a little zoom in down here? George, talk us through what you've just picked up here.
Well, what that is, my friend, is pigs in blanket, stuffing and potatoes with gravy. Oh. Unbelievable food here at Oxford. Quite frankly, it's the most positive thing I've seen today.
And you, but the other thing you said, so you've been coming down, I guess, to see Farsley for all of their home games, all their away games as well?
Yeah, well, they are all away games. They are. We're up to about 30 away games consecutively this season. There's some fans here are about £2,000 deep this season so far, and I personally are just over £1,000 deep. We have 30 consecutive away games. We have no pitch, and quite frankly, the fact that we still have a club is unbelievable. The unfortunate scenario that we're in is we actually don't. Even though any other season this would be a 6-pointer, we don't care whether we win or lose. We're here because we have a club.
Well, it's good to have you down. We heard you guys singing "What's It Like to Have a Pitch." I'm glad you're enjoying the food, George, but hopefully there's something more to cheer about in the second half, bud.
Yeah, but I have promised him. I won't have my fingers crossed, to be quite honest. I mean, it's a dire situation we're in, and do you know what? None of us can blame the players. They get paid late or they don't get paid at all. We're here because we have a club, and that's what matters.
Well, good on you, George. Good on for celebrating, mate. Keep enjoying the rest of the game, and we're going to pass over back to you guys in the studio for some score updates.
Thank you, Toby. That was absolutely perfect, looking like some serious grub. Now, the two gentlemen to my left have both been begging for goals to go in. Going to start off in the Championship at the Bet365 Stadium. Who has taken the lead? Is it Stoke or is it Burnley?
We finally have a goal here at the Bet365, and it's Burnley. It's the dangerous, the side that's looking the most dangerous. It's their talisman, Jay Rodriguez. A ball's played into the box. It's taken down by Josh Cullen and plays it across the box just for Jay Rodriguez for an easy tap-in. However, while I was talking, Burnley have just gone through again. Jaden Anthony has knocked the ball past Victor Johansson, and has been clattered by Victor Johansson. Johansson is on the floor injured. I think the referee has given a Burnley penalty. I'm not 100% sure. Yes, it looks like Rodriguez has the ball under his arm. Oh, sorry, he's actually running with the ball to the corner flag. So he's decided to give a Burnley corner. But Burnley, in the last 5 minutes, they've scored, had a massive chance. Stoke are really, really hanging on by a thread here.
Chance for a potential quick-fire double, maybe from the set piece. Now over to Selhurst Park. The deadlock has been broken.
Yes, it has, Tom. It's 1-0 Newcastle. It's an own goal by Mark Guay. There's a really well-worked set-piece routine from Newcastle, something that's probably been worked on in the training ground in the week by the looks of it. Lewis Hall stepped over the ball. He's played it short to Sandro Tonali on the edge, and he's just clipped it in behind a lovely through ball into Anthony Gordon. He's then played it across the 6-yard box, and it's just hit Mark Guay and gone into the back of the net. 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle and Liverpool are the only teams this season yet to drop points from a winning position in the Premier League, so it looks good for Newcastle to get a result at the moment.
Love that. Good stat. And also very ironic, isn't it? Mark Gay, who was heavily linked with joining Newcastle United in the summer, is the player that gives the own goal to give Newcastle the lead. Other fixtures in the Premier League, we're going to jump over to Billy. Brentford versus Leicester has got back underway. How are the Bees looking? Have the Foxes managed to come back into it?
Not really, to be honest with you. It's still mostly Brentford. Nothing really to report in the first 5 minutes of the second half so far. Buonanotte has been the outstanding player for Leicester, but even still, it's not been anything to ride home about. Although Brentford are mucking about with it at the back. Leicester have got the ball back. Wilfred Ndidi's crossed it in. Buonanotte at the back post. It's just over his head and out for a goal kick. So it's still 3-1 to Brentford, and they look quite comfortable, to be honest with you.
Still looking for that live goal that we get whilst we're going through things. Diogo, Nottingham Forest still 1-0 up over Ipswich Town.
Yeah, they're still 1-0 up. A couple of minutes ago, actually, Muric had a brilliant double save. Jota Silva, he took the ball in from a corner, and then Murillo with a great header. But as I said earlier, he had a double save, and it's still 1-0 to Nottingham Forest.
Goals in the Championship going in also. Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle have fallen behind after half-time against Bristol City. That is 1-0. Luton Norwich still locked at 2 goals apiece. Preston have equalised at home against West Bromwich Albion, as have Swansea City. That is now 2 goals apiece between the Swans and Portsmouth. In the FA Cup, Accrington, Swindon Town still 1 goal apiece. Still 0-0 as well. Barnsley, Bristol Rovers, Cambridge, Wigan Athletic. Exeter have taken the lead over Chesterfield, though. That is 1-0. Leyton Orient have fallen behind at home to Oldham Athletic. That is 1-0 to Oldham, former Premier League side as well, now playing right down in the lower reaches of the English pyramid. And Celtic in the SPL still 5-0 up, just coming up to the hour mark against Ross County. Brendan Rodgers' side doing a fantastic job. Brackley Town have pulled a goal back against Stockport County as well. 60 minutes in, that is 2-1. Lots of shouts going on at the tables. We'll start with Billy over there at Brentford.
Damsgaard again, passing it into the box. Wissa one-on-one with the keeper. He's hit it first time straight at Hermansen, but I've just found out it's offside in the end, so the save doesn't really matter. But it's great football, great pass from Damsgaard. Is he offside? He is a mile offside, actually. Justin was the last man back, but yeah, still 3-1 here.
Yeah, goal going in the Championship again. Plymouth Argyle, Wayne Rooney now 2 goals down away at Bristol City, and coming off the back of a 6-1 drubbing at home to Norwich. This is not looking good for Wayne Rooney's side at all. Is it still 1-0, Burnley versus Stoke?
Yeah, I think that was a bit of an overreactive all by me there. It was a half chance, to be honest with you. It was just a corner. Ben Wilmot rose at the back post, headed the ball down, but it was a comfortable save for James Trafford. I think I'm just desperate for goals, so I'm getting excited at any little chance or anything is getting me excited. But at the moment, it's still Burnley 1, Stoke City 0.
Very interesting, yes. Starting to come alive with the recoiling in the chair, but still waiting for a few more goals to go in there at the Bet365 Stadium. Over in Spain, we're into the second half of Alaves taking on Leganes. That is currently 0-0. Once again, Billy is reacting. Is this Brentford on the move still?
Brentford again coming forward, and Buemo with the cross. Damsgaard's got his head at the end of it, but he's put it over the bar. It's not a good header, really. He should be putting it on target at least. Collins actually doing well up on the right wing as a centre-half to get it to Buemo, but still 3-1. It should be 4.
Yeah, Brentford doing very well. Mikael Damsgaard, like you said, seemingly the talisman on this occasion. Ain't no stopping him now. He's on the move and he's in the groove and he's doing very, very well indeed. Crystal Palace, Newcastle United. Is it still 1-0 to the Magpies?
It is still 1-0 to the Magpies, but Crystal Palace have just had a penalty shout. It's been given a corner by the referee. There's a shot that's coming at the edge of the box. Will Hughes, he's hit it hard, and I think it might have just clipped the arm of Fabian Schär, but arm's very close to the body. I think it would have been a bit of a harsh decision. Yeah, I don't think it's a penalty. Palace have responded quite well. They've just taken the corner short now. We've got Eze, who's got the ball on the edge of the box. He's trying to cut in and work it on his left foot. He's played it back out to Hughes, who's whipped it in. And yeah, Newcastle have just cleared it. But yeah, decent response from Palace. Look like they are going to get back into the game. 59 minutes 0, Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, and they really need it, Crystal Palace, don't they? Stapled in the relegation zone. We're going to head back over to Oxford now. I'm delighted to say we're going to be talking to Toby Chapman again. Toby, what are your updates for us?
So, Farsley Celtic's latest food critic doesn't have much more else to smile about. It's a third goal for Oxford City. Good bit of work coming down this left-hand side for Oxford. Gets into the box, and midfielder Tom Scott is able to put it to the keeper's right. That makes it Oxford City 3, Farsley Celtic 0.
Thank you very much for that, Toby. Harrison Richards overseeing the Coventry versus Cardiff City game. Frank Lampard's side, the last time we spoke to Harrison, had just gone 2-1 behind. Have they managed to pull it back? Have they shown any signs of pulling a goal back, Harrison?
They haven't shown too many signs. It is still 2-1 to Cardiff. They are slightly getting on top at the moment. They did just have a free kick. Jack Rodoni struck it with his left foot. It deflected just wide of the post. The following corner led to absolutely nothing. But they're starting to dominate possession, forcing Cardiff to make a couple changes on the pitch. But for now, it does remain Coventry 1, Cardiff 2.
Thank you very much, Harrison. Going swiftly over to Molineux. Millie, Wolves still 3-1 down. Are we seeing any signs of the home side getting back into this fixture?
Yeah, as you say, Wolves still 3-1 down. However, Wolves are lucky to not have gone down to 10 men a couple of minutes ago. A sliding tackle on Evan Nielsen, clipping him right in the ankles. Only a yellow card given, though. So Wolves possibly should be down to 10 men right now, and Bournemouth still pressing as ever, not giving up on getting that fourth goal. They just want to secure that win after 2 losses. But last time out at Molineux, when these two sides clashed, it was the Bournemouth that were down to 10 men and did end up on the losing side. So Bournemouth were on the winning side. My apologies. But Bournemouth hoping for their third and on track for their 4th consecutive win at Molineux in the Premier League. Still Wolves 1, Bournemouth 3.
Thank you very much, Millie. Yeah, going very well for the Cherries. That was an interesting fixture, Wolves versus Bournemouth, because the home side haven't actually won that game since 2020. That was Wolves beating Bournemouth by 1-0 back in 2020. Dropping to the Championship, Stoke City versus Burnley at the Bet365 Stadium. Are we seeing any kind of a riposte from the home side?
They're looking like they're getting back into it a little bit. But to be honest, Burnley look like whatever Scott Parker said to them at half-time has really, really worked. As Jadon Anthony is through on goal now, he's 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. He's got Rodriguez in the middle, plays it across. And it's a great, great touch by Ben Gibson, the Stoke centre-half, to knock it behind for a corner. That was actually a great chance. Anthony burns Ashley Phillips for pace, plays the ball across the box, perfectly on the plate for Rodriguez, but it's just nicked away by the toe of Ben Gibson. It's a Burnley corner. They're all over Stoke at the moment. It's currently Burnley 1, Stoke 0 still.
Still absolutely gutted that we haven't had a live goal. Going over to Brentford, they're pushing for another goal to try and put Leicester to the sword. Have the Bees managed to do it, though?
They're playing it out wide now. It's with the right back going back to Collins. He's charging forward. Collins has had a great game so far. He's up in the number 10 position. It's a great ball into Shard. Shard for his hat-trick. 4-1. What a great goal. 4-1 for Brentford against Leicester.
And we've finally got a goal live on the coverage. Brentford taking a 4-1 lead there. We're going to go back over to Rio, who we haven't spoken to so far in the second half of his game. That's Rio, what's going on? Have you got anything for us?
So, it is currently 2-0 to Totton, but things could be looking bad as the hosts have just received a red card. Luke Bennett was sent off after some skill down the right-hand side. He was tackled just on the outside of the box, maybe in the box, but the referee had deemed it to be a dive. He received a second yellow. This could put the hosts at risk. Although they're leading at 2-0, the hosts have, the away side, the visit side, Swindon Supermarine, have come out very strong in the second half. They've looked a better team. Substitute, Oliver Mayhew had a good chance early on, which could have brought it back for the team, but it was saved by the keeper. So things are looking precarious for the home side now, as they're chasing to hold on to a win with 10 men at 2-0.
Thank you, Rio. Yes, looking a little bit dangerous now for AFC Totton, and going down to 10 men, though, hasn't always affected sides. If we go to the FA Cup, Accrington Stanley versus Swindon Town, Swindon went 1-0 down, then went down to 10 men, then brought it back to 1-0, but have just missed a penalty to take the lead. That will remain 1 goal apiece. Swindon disappointed, struggling in League 2, but this is a big opportunity to make it into the third round of the FA Cup, looking very, very good indeed. Back to Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. Are we seeing anything more from Chris Wood? Can he try and get a brace today?
We actually saw Chris Wood earlier complaining that there was a penalty, but the referee just told him, no, get up. And yeah, that's all that's really happened. Jack Clark came on for Sminnix, and yeah, I could really see Nottingham Forest getting a clean sheet. Ipswich just are lacking that attacking threat up front.
How much of an impact did Sammy Smolix have? He's only had 3 goals this season since he came in from Blackburn in the summer. Has he made any real impact on this game?
Me personally, I haven't noticed him on the pitch, but that's probably because I don't watch Ipswich that much, so I don't know where he is on the pitch. But from what I saw, yeah, he didn't really make an impact, hence why he's been subbed off.
Pretty damning indictment, maybe we'll have to put out. The missing person posters. Down into the Championship, we saw once again Ben going backwards in his seat. Burnley versus Stoke.
Yeah, another great chance for Burnley. An absolutely delightful ball played in by Josh Laurent and onto Jaden Anthony's feet, and somehow he's put it over the bar. I'm not sure how he's done that. Pretty much had the goal gaping. He will not want to see that one again later. But as it stands, it's still Burnley 1, Stoke 0.
Yeah, disappointing for Stoke there. Disappointing for Burnley, unable to get that second goal in. Wayne Rooney, we've got to talk about it again. He's now 3-0 down away at Bristol City. Scott Twine picked up the first on 57, and then a brace from Mehmeti to leave Wayne Rooney's side reeling 3-0 down with just under 20 minutes to go in that one. Norwich and Luton still level at 2 goals apiece. Same with Preston versus West Bromwich Albion. It could be another draw for Carlos Cobrand's Baggies side. And like I said before at the start of the broadcast, the most boring team in English football right now. 8 draws out of their last 9, could be 9 draws out of their last 10. Swansea Portsmouth also still level at 2-2 in Wales. Are we getting any closer to a 5th goal for Brentford?
Not at the minute, no. Leicester are making a change. They're bringing Oliver Skip on. Leicester, they just look flat. They look like they've got nothing going forward. The only chance I see them scoring is if it's a free kick or a corner, set pieces only, I think. Because right now Brentford just look too good for them. Lewis Potter has dragged down James Justin near the corner flag, so they might get their set piece goal after all.
Has there been anyone in the Leicester side that can come away from this game with a fair bit of credit at all?
I mean, the standout for Leicester will probably be Buonanotte. He's been picking up the ball when they have had the ball, and at least he's been trying to run at defenders. But so far, it's nothing really from any player in a blue shirt.
Yeah, disappointment. Now we're going to head back over to Sholing. Chance Chomick, he had a bit of a dull as dishwater first half. We were begging for a goal. We got one. Have we got another one, Chance?
Yeah, it's kicking off now. It's Sholing 0, Winchester City 1. Oh, they're going for goal. Oh, no, I'll go back. There was this red card for Sholing. Harry Taylor got his 2nd yellow of the match, and Sholing are down to 10 men. So it's starting to kick off here in the non-league. Sholing 0, Winchester City 1.
Thank you very much, Chance. Yeah, the home side is clearly struggling with red cards, a lot of them being handed out so far today. Let's just head down into the National League. Just a quick scoreline update there. It's still 2 goals apiece for Braintree versus Gateshead, and it is also still 0-0 for Ipswich Town versus Boston United. Southend have picked up a 2nd goal away at Halifax. That is 2-0. Hartlepool Barnet is 0-0, and we've just had a goal for Sutton United, who take a 1-0 lead over Fylde. Yeovil still 1-0 up over Woking. York, who scored 4 in the first half. Maidenhead have managed to pull one back, although they have had Massey sent off. That is 4-2, 69 minutes in. We haven't had a lot from Selhurst Park. Is it just turning into a bit of a dull game?
It's actually all been Palace really, Tom, since Newcastle took the lead. They did have quite a good opportunity to equalise actually about 5 minutes ago or so. The ball found its way to Ismaila Sarr on the edge of the area, and a one-on-one chance occurred for him. Put it straight at Nick Pope, who parried the ball out wide to Munoz. It was who was flying in from the right-hand side. He's tried to tuck it away, but Dan Burn actually managed to get clearance off the line. So a pretty decent opportunity for an equaliser for Palace, but no other real chances to mention as of yet. It's Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 1, 68 minutes in.
Yeah, slightly disappointing there from Palace, unable to really make any inroads to try and get back on level terms. Celtic still 5-0 up over Ross County. Another goal has gone in Scotland. It is Dundee FC, who are 1-0 up over Kilmarnock away from home. Fixtures finishing in Germany as well. Augsburg beating VfL Bochum by 1-0. Werder Bremen and and Stuttgart drawing 2 goals apiece. Freiburg did beat Mönchengladbach by 3-1. RB Leipzig conceded a late goal again against Wolfsburg. That ended 5-1. And Bayer Leverkusen with a late goal to beat Union Berlin, Xabi Alonso style. They pick up the 3 points there. Back in the Championship, are we still seeing some signs of maybe Burnley getting a second?
Yeah, definitely. Still on the attack. Stoke are looking tired, they're looking fatigued, their shape is starting to fade. Burnley on the attack, both sides made in fact Burnley made 2 subs, so Zian Fleming has replaced goal scorer Jay Rodriguez. Josh Brownhill, Burnley's top scorer, is on the pitch now for Jeremy Sarmiento. And just before, 5 minutes before, Stoke made a change. They took off Wouterberger and brought on Andrew Moran, just to give a little more attacking threat up front, which is what they need. They need to get a goal soon.
Yeah, important very much for Stoke to try and get back into this game. Goals going in the FA Cup. Peterborough have just equalised. They were 2-1 down at home to Notts County, pulling it back to 2-2. And Swindon Town down to 10 men. They missed a penalty, but they are now ahead of Accrington Stanley with 20 minutes to go. That is 2-1 for the League 2 outfit. Heading back over to Nottingham Forest. Any signs of an Ipswich revival with 15 minutes to go?
No, I think Nottingham Forest are just too solid at the back. I'm so impressed by how solid these defenders are. Ipswich are really having a tough time trying to break into the attack, even the likes of Liam Delap and Hutchinson. But now Nicholas Dominguez has come on for Elliot Anderson, who I'm actually really surprised because I thought he had a really good game. But yeah, let's see what happens. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich 0.
How much credit do you think manager Nuno Espirito Santo should do for the job that he has managed to do at Nottingham Forest since he took over halfway through last season from Steve Cooper, obviously formerly of Wolves and Tottenham? Mixed results there. He's got to take a lot of praise for this, surely.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of credit when it comes to how successful this team is really doing in the Premier League. I mean, when it comes to the recruitments, even in press talks, you can tell how much he loves the club. So I think a lot of the credit definitely goes to him.
Heading back over to one of the best games that we've seen so far this afternoon. It is Crawley Town against Lincoln City. Last time we spoke to Nathan Potter, it was 4-2 for the away side. Is that still the case, Nathan?
Yeah, there is no goals as of late, unfortunately, but Lincoln have been unlucky not to find a 5th in this game. They've just been peppering that Crawley goal towards my left, and, well, Crawley have struggled to get anything going, really. The final pass is lacking from that side. Both sides have made a couple of changes just now.
Yeah, disappointing for the home side there. It really looks like they've just been hit right in the solar plexus after taking that early 2-0 lead. We're going to jump back into non-league now. Toby Chapman over at Oxford. Have we seen another goal for the home side? We haven't got Toby. We've lost him, the black screen of doom, once again. We're going to jump into the Championship this time. Harrison, Coventry versus Cardiff. Have we seen anything from Frank Lampard's side in the previous 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, it does remain Coventry 1, Cardiff City 2, and there is a sense of frustration around the ground from Coventry fans. A real lack of chance. They just had probably their best chance of the half. Through Mason Clark, he received the ball through the right-hand side, cut in on his left to send it over. About 10 minutes ago, we had chants from the Cardiff City fans saying, "You're getting sacked in the morning," to Frank Lampard. In response, he did bring Ellis Sims on, who was a bit of a force for Coventry last season, especially in the FA Cup run. But he has struggled, especially at home this season, with just 1 goal to his name at the CVS Arena. But it does remain Coventry 1, Cardiff City 2.
Thank you very much, Harrison. Not ideal at all, Frank Lampard starting out, taking over from Mark Robbins a few seasons ago. Coventry were hovering around the promotion playoff spaces in the Championship. That is no longer the case. I think we have got Toby Chapman in Oxford, though. Toby, come in.
Yes, guys, it's been another goal for the home team. The floodlights are on now, but the brightest light that there has been midfielder Zach McEachran. He's been moving around the pitch. He's been able to pull the strings in terms of creating all the goals. He's deserved one. And guess what? He's got one now. He got the ball just outside the box, shimmied between 2 defenders and was able to put it to the keeper's left. That makes it Oxford City 4, Farsley Celtic 0.
Doing very well indeed, the home side. Moving back to Molineux. Millie, are we seeing maybe a sign of a Wolves revival against Bournemouth?
Well, we just had a crazy 3 minutes down here at Molineux. It's game on again here in Wolverhampton. It's Wolves 2, Bournemouth 3. A excellent ball threaded through by Guedes into Håkan Larsson, who gets his second goal of the game for Wolves and smashes it into the goal net. However, I think we've got a third penalty by AFC Bournemouth. I'm not quite sure who's gone down in the box, but I'll bring you that update as and when I find out. But here at the moment, we've 70 minutes in, game on. It's Wolves 2, AFC Bournemouth 3.
Wow, thank you, Millie. Potentially a hat-trick of penalties. You don't see that very often. Talking of penalties, at the Bet365.
Yes, Burnley Pen. Burnley Pen. They got a chance to extend their lead. Josh Laurent drove into the box, took quite a heavy touch actually, but just nicked it away in front of Tatsuki Seko, who nicks him, goes down. Referee didn't think twice, pointed straight to the spot. I'm not sure who's going to take this. I think it's going to be Brownhill, who has just came on. Yes, it is Brownhill. He's just came on about 5 minutes ago, steps up, he's put the ball down. Victor Johansson is right in his face, actually, screaming at him. I'm not sure how sportsman that is of the Stoke keeper. However, he's been told to go back onto his line, get back onto his line by the referee. Stoke players delaying this penalty as much as they can. There's about 3 or 4 of them in the box, moaning that Brownhill's not got the ball on the spot properly. Not sure how much of a difference that will make, as now they've been told to exit the box, and oh, no, they haven't. They keep coming in and in. They're just moaning about the ball not being on the spot. Brownhill steps up, referee blows his whistle. Goal! Scores! Brownhill scores for Burnley. It's 2-0 Burnley. They look comfortable now. I don't think Stoke have a chance. The captain Brownhill slots away his 6th championship goal of the season. It is now Burnley 2, Stoke 0.
Very, very impressive. They'll be delighted to finally get that second goal, the cushion that they needed. Cambridge United in the FA Cup have taken the lead late against Wigan Athletic at the Abbey. 78 minutes gone. That is 1-0. For Cambridge there. We've had another red card in the FA Cup though. Bradford City, Morecambe, those two sides still level at 0-0, but Bradford, the away team, have picked up a sending off down to 10 men with just 10 minutes to go. And in France, Rennes versus St Etienne, 38 minutes in, got another red card and a penalty, this time for Rennes the penalty. Red card for St Etienne, who are towards the bottom end of Ligue 1 at the moment. That'll be disappointing for the green outfit there. Returning to the Premier League, I heard a bit of an exhale from Billy earlier about Brentford versus Leicester. Any close to a 7th goal of the game? 6th goal of the game, my apologies.
Yeah, Brentford were looking a lot better. They've just brought on Fabio Carvalho and Igor Thiago for Kevin Shard and Yamoluk, and they all 3 of them look to strengthen Brentford's attack. I don't know if they need it, but they nearly scored again. Carvalho cuts it across, but Wout Faes was there to clear the ball. So it's still 4-1 now, but Brentford are definitely looking for their 5th.
And Diogo, how are things looking at Nottingham Forest?
So it's still the same. Anthony Elanga, Alex Moreno and Morata have come on the pitch now. So they're just looking to finish the game off now. I think Anthony Elanga can be a real impact sub. But now, yeah, Jota Silva's come off. Some have said the Portuguese Jack Grealish. Now, they're looking. Anthony Elanga, I think, will make a really big impact in this game.
Yeah, formerly of Manchester United, of course. That could be a big, big moment for Nottingham Forest if he can try and get involved. Down in the Championship, Norwich City have taken the lead against Luton Town. That is now 3-2. They haven't been relying on their talisman Borja Sainz either. He has yet to get a goal involvement in this game. But with 7 minutes of normal time to go, it is 3-2 for Norwich City at the... for the Canaries. We're going to jump back to the Premier League, though, with Millie at Molineux. Wolves versus Bournemouth. Any more updates for us? That penalty shout hasn't been given.
Well, it's now a hat-trick of penalties for Justin Kluivert here at Molineux, and a hat-trick of assists for Evan Nilsson, those fantasy players anyway. So yeah, another foul on Evan Nilsson in the box from goalkeeper Jose Sarr, and Kluivert converts once again from the spot, cool as he like, just slides it into that bottom right-hand corner this time. Very different to the 2 penalties he's previously taken. So the deficit is back to 2 goals for Wolves. It feels like a long way to go for them now. But, you know, I've never seen anything like it here at Molineux. It's Wolves 2, AFC Bournemouth 4, just over 73 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Millie. Yeah, very exciting. Evan Nielsen coming in from Porto in the summer. He had picked up a goal in 3 consecutive games before losing to Brighton a few matches ago. But yeah, picking up a hat-trick of assists for the penalties. That is very impressive indeed. You don't see that particularly often. Heading back over to Nottingham Forest. We're into the final 10 minutes. Are there any signs of an Ipswich revival?
Again, no signs really. I can really see the players trying to get back into the game. And I think as long as it stays 1-0, they do have a chance. But if Nottingham Forest get a second, I think that's game over. But yeah, funnily enough, with Millie talking about FPL, it's not looking good for me because I've got Cunha and some other players as well, and I've not heard their names.
Yeah, not ideal. Mateus Cunha been in fantastic form this season, 4 goals and 3 assists in his last 4 games, but at the moment hasn't really contributed in this game so far. Into the Championship, we're going to go back to Ben at the Bet365 Stadium. Is it almost game, set and match Burnley?
No, actually it's not. Stoke have responded very, very well to Burnley taking a 2-goal lead. Milliam Manhoef on the right-hand side took on 2 players, had a shot. It actually hit the inside of the post. In the replay showed that Trafford got a hand to it. It was a Stoke corner. Stoke actually have, I can't quite see who it is, but they've had a player doing long throws this whole game, and I think that we can all remember back to the days of Stoke and Rory Delap loving their long throw-ins. It looks like that's their tactic at the moment. But yeah, Stoke have responded well to going 2 down. Honestly, I'm not sure they get back into this game, but to be fair to them, they're giving it a good go. It is still Burnley 2, Stoke 0.
I love that. Back to prime Barclays Premier League Stoke with the long throw-ins there. Rio Goodwin down at AFC Totton. We have had a goal go in, but for who, Rio?
Yeah. So when I last left you, it was 2-0. There was just a red card for the host, Totton. But as I said, it was precarious, and it has been as the away side have striken back. It is now 2-1. It has been all the away side since that red card. They've been struggling, and substitute Davidson Burgess has got his name on their score sheet. Some sloppy play in the box, left it to him from 6 yards, who managed to tap it away home, which leaves these last minutes a big task for Tottenham as they had to hold on to 1-goal lead with 10 men.
Thank you, Rio. Yes, definitely getting a little bit worrying for the home side there. Maybe a bit of a brain in a jam jar time as Swindon coming back into it thanks to that red card. In the FA Cup, Stockport County were 2-1 up over Brackley Town. They've just made it 3-1 with just 3 minutes to go of traditional time. 87 minutes gone, 3-1 for Stockport County. No other goals really to speak of in the FA Cup. It's been a much quieter second half, which certainly couldn't be said for what happened in the first half. Hibernian in the SPL now 3-0 up away at Motherwell. Dundee United have taken the lead late against St Mirren. Dundee FC have been pulled back by Kilmarnock. That is 1 goal apiece with 5 minutes to go. And Celtic, Brendan Rodgers' side, in absolute cruise control, still 5-0 up over Ross County. Selhurst Park, any updates? Can we see anything from Crystal Palace? Ebereki Eze, Jean-Philippe Mateta, are they getting involved?
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly been the better team since Newcastle took the lead earlier on in the second half. Mateta did come very close, actually, to equalising. It was a set piece that came in from the right-hand side. It sort of fell to him with his back to goal, and he's turned and hit it on the half volley, and it went just over the crossbar. That's as close as Palace have come to equalising since you were last with me. Newcastle looking to shut up shop by the looks of it, with about 10 minutes to go here at Selhurst Park.
Yeah, interesting one there. Crystal Palace pushing for a win at Selhurst Park to try and pick up another victory. Heading back over to the Crawley game, 4-2 the last time we spoke to Nathan Potter. No updates last time on the scoreline. Have we got any more, Nathan?
Well, Crawley have found their potential lifeline in this game. It's Crawley Town 3, Lincoln City 4. Lincoln couldn't clear their lines. It fell to Jeremy Kelly on the edge of the area, and he's hit it first time and found the bottom right corner. Crawley Town 3, Lincoln City 4.
Oh, that could be in for a grandstand finish at Crawley. 4-4, maybe even 5-4 if Crawley can get back into it. Wigan Athletic, with 5 minutes to go, have equalised at Cambridge United. That is 1 goal apiece there in the FA Cup as well. And Norwich City, signed, sealed, delivered with 3 minutes to go. They have taken a 4-2 lead over Luton Town. Rob Edwards' side could be another defeat for the team that were relegated last season. The Hatters continuing to struggle to stabilise in the second tier. Back over to Brentford. Is it still 4-1?
It is still 4-1. Leicester have now just brought on Bobby Decordova-Reid for their 4th change. Their subs have actually been very good. Mavadidi especially bringing some injection of pace to the Leicester team. But as they push, it's leaving them more and more open at the back. And I still think that if there's going to be another goal in this game, it will probably be for Brentford. Fabio Carvalho has come on and he's been playing absolutely brilliant, to be fair. He's had a shot on goal, easily saved. Then Mavadidi's gone straight up the other end, shot, again easily saved. So it's getting a bit more even now, but I think it's a bit too little too late for Leicester. 4-1, I can't see him scoring 3 goals in 10 minutes.
Yeah, going to be difficult for the Foxes, and Fabio Carvalho, recently coming in from Liverpool, needs to make a bit of a statement after getting turfed out of Anfield in 14 appearances this season, 2 goals and 3 assists so far. A decent return for the Portuguese international. Nottingham Forest, a couple of minutes left to go. Have they just completely shut up shop?
No, I can really see Ipswich trying. They're really pushing for an equaliser, but Nottingham Forest have gone full-on Jose Mourinho, parking the bus. But they can do that because their defence is so solid. So Ipswich, I can't really see them breaking Forest down. So I feel like it's going to stay 1-0.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest doing very well to hold on to this. Will be a big 3 points for them after those back-to-back defeats against Arsenal and Newcastle United recently, and Ipswich Town having very recently fallen back into the relegation zone courtesy of wins for Wolves, dropping back down into the bottom 3. Not good news for Wayne Rooney fans though. They're now 4-0 down, a complete capitulation in the second half away at Bristol City. 10 goals conceded in their previous 3 matches. Not ideal at all. Coming to the end of our games in the Championship, still 1 goal apiece for Preston North End and West Bromwich Albion, and it's still 2 goals apiece for Swansea City and Portsmouth. No goals in the second half in Wales. In the FA Cup, things fairly standard. Charlton Athletic have picked up a 3rd goal away at Walsall. That is 3-0 now with just 5 minutes to go. Newcastle, are they able to hold on at the moment? Are they struggling under the pressure from Crystal Palace?
It looks like Newcastle are going to hold out for the back-to-back away league wins for the first time since February, Tom. They're actually the side on the attack at the moment. They've just put in a corner in by Tonali. But there was big scenes earlier when Newcastle actually took the lead, Tom. One of the advertising boards seemed to have sort of collapsed with all the onrush of fans running onto the pitch to celebrate with the players. And the players were having to think quickly to sort of prevent a few injuries and whatnot within the ground there to push the fans away and lift the advertising board back up. I think there's been a bit of talk on social media by the looks of it over the last half an hour or so. So hopefully everybody was all right in that little incident earlier on.
I just want to add, I think that might be the 2nd time that's happened this season at Selhurst Park. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure I remember it happened before. The advertising board collapsed during celebrations.
Nasty scenes, yeah, you don't want to see that at all. Fans going to games shouldn't be getting injured while they are out there. La Liga, Alaves versus Leganés. Leganés have taken the lead in the second half. 15 minutes to go of normal time. It is 1-0 for Leganés there. Later on, we've got Espanyol versus Celta Vigo and Valladolid, Real Valladolid against Atletico Madrid. Later kickoffs down there. Any other updates that we can bring? Still 1-0 in Ligue 1 for Rennes after that penalty and sending off for St Etienne. We're coming up towards half-time there. We're coming up towards crunch time for a lot of teams in the FA Cup now. The likes of Accrington Stanley. Man advantage, 2 minutes to go. Still behind against Swindon Town. Morecambe have taken a late lead though over Bradford City. Bradford picked up a red card with 10 minutes to go. They've just conceded and we're into injury time. That could be curtains for Bradford there. We're going to head over, though, back down into... Well, we're not going to do that. We are going to look back to the Championship now because I think we have had a couple of goals go in. Harrison Richards, Coventry City versus Cardiff, have Frank Lampard's side managed to potentially salvage a point?
It certainly has. It is 2-2 here at the CBS Arena. And there's a penalty for Coventry scored by Victor Thorpe.
Oh, dearie me. I think we've just lost Harrison there. A crunch time in that game, but it is now 2 goals apiece for Coventry City and Cardiff City as we head into injury time. We're starting to wind up our games here. We haven't heard from Ben down in the Championship for a little while. Is it still 1-0 to Burnley? 2-0 to Burnley, sorry.
Yeah, 2-0 to Burnley, Tom still. They just had a great chance on a counter-attack. They dispossessed Stoke, who were playing it around the edge of their box. Brownhill breaks through the Stoke lines, plays the ball out to Jadon Anthony. Jadon Anthony's been a bit off it today. He's got the ball in a good space quite a few times, and it looks like he doesn't have the final touch that he needs. Same again as that. He had a lot of space. He took a touch, went to beat the defender, and just got tackled straight away. Stoke clear their lines. I think Burnley, even though they're 2-0 up, they're not sitting back, they're still looking to attack. The advertising board's just gone up. There's 4 minutes added on here. It's looking like Burnley are going to hold out. They're actually taking it in the corner now, trying to waste some time. But yeah, at the moment, it's Burnley 2, Stoke 0.
Yeah, now or never for the home side. We are going to head back over to Coventry, though. It is 2 goals apiece. A lifeline for Frank Lampard in his debut for the Sky Blues. Harrison, can you tell us how it happened?
Certainly can. So it was a penalty converted into the bottom left corner by Victor Torp. The referee originally didn't want to give the penalty. It was for a handball, but after a 10-second deliberation with the linesman, he decided to give it. The Cardiff players clearly not happy with the decision. A couple of yellow cards were thrown around, but the delay did not. It was no problem for Victor Torp at all, as he buried it into the bottom left corner with the keeper diving the wrong way. There were no celebrations. They went straight for the ball, picked it up, and ran back to their half, getting ready for the kickoff. But yeah, it is now 2-2.
Thank you, Harrison. Potentially going to see a late winner for either side. We'll have to wait and see. Not long left to go in that game. Back into the Premier League. 4-2 was the score. Millie told us about between Wolves and Bournemouth. Any signs of any goals for either side in the latter stages?
Well, it's not just the goals that are coming in for AFC Bournemouth this afternoon. They've also made Premier League history. Justin Kluivert is the first ever player in the league to score a hat-trick of penalties. And Evan Nielsen is the first ever player to win a hat-trick of penalties here in the Premier League at Molineux this afternoon. So it just keeps getting better and better for AFC Bournemouth as they sort of sit back and let Wolves attempt to attack, but still no real threat for Wolves this afternoon at Molineux. It's currently about 5 minutes to go until we find out how much extra time they have. It's Wolves 2, Bournemouth 4.
Thank you, Millie. That's an incredible stat, isn't it? First player ever to get a hat-trick of penalties and a hat-trick of penalties won. I'm a big fan of that. That's good work there, finding that out. Game starting to finish in the Championship. Bristol City have beaten Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle by 4-0, and Norwich City completing a comeback win over Luton Town, that finishing 4-2. I think things are coming towards the end, though, in the game against Stoke and Burnley. Any signs of any kind of revival, or is this just done?
Yeah, Tom, looks done to me. Burnley just keeping the ball. Not really any danger. There hasn't really been any danger from Stoke, to be honest, throughout the game, really. They've had a couple chances. They've maybe had one half chance this second half, but you can definitely see why Burnley are up there and pushing for promotion in the Championship. As you know, this result, they'll jump Leeds in the table. They'll jump to second after Leeds lost earlier. I think Scott Parker and his men will be absolutely delighted with the result. Even better if they do keep a clean sheet. Yeah, I really think that they're a big shout for a promotion push this season.
Yeah, capitalising on Leeds dropping points and a poor run of form for Sunderland, who were the early league leaders in the Championship. They're winless in their last 5 games, the North East side. Other games finishing, Preston West Brom has finished 1-1, a 9th draw in 10 league games for West Bromwich Albion. Not particularly exciting for Baggies fans. And we've also got some games starting to finish in the FA Cup as well. Morecambe did grab a late 1-0 win over Bradford City. It ended 1-0 for Mansfield Town away at Stevenage. Also, Stockport County completing a 3-1 win over Brackley Town. And Charlton very late on have picked up a 4th goal against Walsall away from home. That is a very impressive result indeed from the League One outfit. Back to the Premier League. We are in injury time and a lot of our games going to start off with Nottingham Forest. How are the home side coping?
Yeah, so 7 minutes have been added on. We're now on the 94th minute, and Ipswich again really pushing for an equaliser, but it's just not working out for them. I really see this ending in a 1-0 game. All it took was the penalty from Chris Wood, and that's all it took. With Callum Hudson-Odoi, he came off, and I wasn't really impressed with his performance. I thought he'd do a lot better than he did, but I think he's just happy about getting the 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Get the points and get out of there. Brentford versus Leicester. Enthralling first half, slightly less interesting second half. Are we still sat at 4-1, Billy?
We are still sat here, 4-1. Oh, lovely turn by Fabio Carvalho there. Wow, FaZe comes in and absolutely annihilates him with a slide tackle though. But yeah, 4-1. Leicester have tried in the second half, tried to push men forward, but there's been no hope really. Brentford have played really well, really good football, much better than Leicester. And I think if results go their way, Brentford could end up 6th in the league table after today. So I think the job's done and dusted for Brentford and Thomas Frank's men.
Yeah, incredibly impressive. They didn't have a particularly good season last time out, Brentford, did they? Finishing down in 16th. It was a little bit difficult. Over at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace trying to slam through the doors of the Last Chance Saloon. Have we seen a late goal go in?
No, we haven't currently. It's still 1-0 Newcastle in the 92nd minute at the moment. To be honest, Newcastle haven't really had a great deal of opportunities throughout the whole of the second half at all. Obviously, their goal came through their own goal from Mark Guay about 25 minutes ago or so. Palace, they were pushing. They haven't really had a lot to talk about in the last 10 minutes or so. 92nd minute of 5 minutes at a time at the moment. It's Palace 1. It's Palace 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, disappointment. Heading back over to Oxford, Toby Chapman. A lot of updates for us. Are we coming towards the closing stages, Toby?
Hi guys, so I don't know if you just heard that then, that was the final whistle going in. I was going to give you a quick update. It was looking all good and well for Oxford City, and I was going to say that the goalkeeper Kai Mackenzie-Lyle, it made sense why he's got the long sleeves on today, because he wasn't involved at all. Oxford City have dominated the match. Last play of the game, the ball is crossed in from Farsley Celtic. Tall centre-back Aaron Pickles gets his head on it, and it makes it 4-1. They go to kick off, but then the referee immediately blows his whistle. So that's the...
Oh, we've lost Toby, but we have had a goal at Selhurst Park very, very late. Who is it for?
It has been a goal at Selhurst Park, Tom. It's Palace 1, Newcastle 1. The Palace fans are going absolutely wild here as Munoz has just equalised. The ball came into the back post and he's met it on his right foot. Very similar to the chance that he had earlier. It's just snuck in past Nick Pope. Massive goal for Palace. Could this be a turnaround in their season?
Salvaging a potential very late point at home to Newcastle United. A first goal of the season for the 28-year-old Colombian as well, Daniel Munoz, and that could be crucial for Palace's chances of surviving. Have we reached an end at Nottingham Forest? Has it stayed 1-0? Have we had any late drama like we saw at Selhurst Park?
We have, yes, it has ended 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. They are now 6th in the Premier League table, which is obviously really good for them. They could even get Europe this year, whilst Ipswich stay in 19th, which, it's really looking like a relegation battle for them. Let's see if they stay up or not.
Oh, we've got activity in the FA Cup, though. In the 10th minute of added time, Leyton Orient have equalised at home to Oldham Athletic. A dagger to the heart of the Oldham fans, and potentially going to have to play this on further. At Peterborough, Notts County, we've had absolute carnage. We're in the 11th minute of added time, and it is 4-3 to Peterborough with an exceptional comeback, leading at the moment just a few seconds of play left. And at the moment, it's the League One side recently relegated from the Championship that look like they're going to be progressing into the third round. Heading over to Molineux, though, is this our last update from Millie on the Wolves-Bournemouth game?
We're just going into the third of 8 minutes added time here at Molineux, and it's looking very likely it's going to finish Wolves 2, Bournemouth 3. Like I said, it's been a historic afternoon here at Molineux with Justin Cliver and Evan Nilsson getting the 3 wins of the penalties and the hat-trick of the penalties here in the Premier League. And what a game it's been for me here at Molineux this afternoon. And it looks like Bournemouth are going to keep moving up that table, and Wolves have fallen back into the relegation zone. Full time here, well, nearing, shall I say. It's Wolves 2, AFC Bournemouth 3. Good night from me.
Thank you, Millie. Yeah, we can hear the boos ringing out around Molineux. Not good at all. Jumping down into the lower leagues, Rio. We saw that AFC Totton was struggling to hold on to that lead with that red card they picked up. Have they managed to maintain it?
Yeah, so things were looking shaky, but I can now confirm the final score is 2-1 to AFC Totton. It looked a bit shaky towards the end. Obviously, Charlie Austin and top scorer Tony Lee gave the home side a very good start within the first 20 minutes. They were 2-0 up. After that, things started to look good for the away side, and a red card for Luke Bennett, who got a second yellow card for diving, seemed to change the game. It was all Swindon Supermarine from then, and then a late goal from substitute Davidson's Burgess pulled the host back, but they just couldn't find that last-minute winner at the end. Final score, 2-1 to AFC Totton.
Thank you, Rio, doing a very good job to hold on to the lead there. Now, Nathan Potter, Crawley versus Lincoln. 7 goals we'd had so far. Did we get our grandstand finish, Nathan?
Well, unfortunately, there was no 8 to be had. It has finished Crawley 3, Lincoln City 4. You could say Lincoln won the game in the first 5 minutes of the second half with the 2 quick-fire goals they scored. Lincoln did get Crawley, Did get a late one back, but not enough to force it to extra time. And wow, this is the magic of the FA Cup.
100%, yeah, ending 4-3. What a game. And yeah, I think the away side are going to be absolutely delighted by that. Down into the lower leagues again, Sholing with chance. We were begging for goals. We had one earlier on. We had a red card as well. How was that one finished?
Mortgage Decisions Community Stadium. There we go. It finished 1-0 to Winchester City. Of course, Sholing dominated possession in the first half. They really should have got a goal, but didn't come to end. And then in the second half, Winchester City got the goal, and then also Sholing got a red card by way of Harry Taylor. Me signing off now. Sholing 0, Winchester City 0.
Thank you very much, Chance. Yeah, big win for the away side. Winchester City there. Important stuff for the players there. Back over to Coventry versus Cardiff. Harrison Richards with a full-time update. Did we see a late goal for either side to try and break the deadlock sat at 2 goals apiece?
We did not. It has finished here. Coventry 2, Cardiff 2. I feel Frank Lampard, he's got to be pretty happy with a point in the end. A late penalty, but I feel like he'll still be going in the change room and demanding more for the next game, because they weren't great. I'll be totally honest. Probably had the better chances own. But credit to Cardiff City's defence. They defended well. And if it wasn't for an unfortunate late handball, then they would have headed back to Wales with 3 points. But it is full-time here. Coventry 2, Cardiff City 2.
Thank you very much, Harrison. A point in Frank Lampard's first game in charge of the Sky Blues. I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Now, to the guys on the bench, we're going to just go down the line, sum up our feelings. Going to start with Billy over there. 4-1 to Brentford in the end. The Bees incredibly impressive, weren't they?
Yeah, 4-1. Amazing football from Brentford. First time they beat Leicester in the Premier League, so it's an achievement for them. Man of the match, I thought Lewis Potter was good, but I don't think you could give it to anyone but Kevin Shard. I mean, he scored 3 goals out of the 4 for Brentford. Hat-trick for him. He's going to take the match ball home. So yeah, brilliant performance from Kevin Shard today.
Unlikely hat-trick for the German, but the Bees running riot at home and knocking out the Foxes there. Nottingham Forest Ipswich Town wasn't the most interesting game, ending 1-0, but a big 3 points for Forest.
Exactly how you said it. It wasn't the most interesting game, but for Forest, they got the 3 points. That's all they're happy about. Ipswich will be really upset to not come away with the 3 points, considering they just beat Tottenham Hotspur, which, in my opinion, is a much harder opponent. But now Nottingham Forest have the 3rd most clean sheets in the Premier League. So, yeah, it's really looking good for Nottingham Forest now.
Excellent defensive record, and Forest potentially challenging for a European spot at the end of the season. Who would have thought that when they finished 17th last season with that points deduction? Late drama at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace, Newcastle. Limbs at one end of the ground, I imagine. Heads being hung very, very low in the other end.
Yeah, I think frustrating day overall for Eddie Howe's men. To be honest, Crystal Palace were the better side throughout the second half, deserved their equaliser. It's the first time Newcastle have dropped points from a winning position this season in the Premier League, so concerning times for Eddie Howe, obviously coming off the back of that 2-0 defeat on Monday. But positives for Palace and Oliver Glasner's men. I think things will be looking up. They'll definitely be feeling positive. Good second half performance overall, deserved the goal like I said. So yeah, they'll be hoping that they can continue that over the next few matches, I'm sure.
100%, and they'll be delighted to have Eze back in the side. And finally, Stoke 0, Burnley 2. Burnley, for the most part, looking pretty comfortable in that tie.
Yeah, Tom, definitely. They look comfortable. 2 goals, thanks to Jay Rodriguez and James Brownhill. Although I don't think Burnley looked utterly convincing, but I think these are the type of results, the games you need to win if you want to challenge for a title or promotion spot. It's these games where you have to grind it out. You don't particularly play pretty amazing football, but you can still get the result. I think that they'll be happy with it. They'll go home with 3 points. Second in the table now, like I said. They're really pushing on.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Burnley challenging to try and bounce straight back into the Premier League. That is it from our panel, and that is it from us as well. Been a pleasure, as always, to bring people these Solent Sports Soccer Saturday events. A goal fest. We had some very interesting ties, and hopefully you enjoyed coming along on the ride with us. Thank you ever so much for watching, and from all of us in the studio, it has been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.